Okay, we should be on screen. Did you hit record too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we
Hello.
live?
Paul,
Hello?
can you hear us?
Mm-hmm.
We can't
Can
hear
we
him.
hear Paul? He's muted.
Now you can.
Yeah.
So loud.
There we go.
All right, we got a poll.
We got a Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hello, friends. Let me put the music on real quick. This is a work in progress. We are testing this out. We did some testing off stream, but obviously it is a little bit of a process to make sure that we get this.
Yeah, different
correct.
setup for us compared to usual.
Yeah, a little bit different. But we are back. So not to delay, we'll go around the table, introduce ourselves. We'll have Paul go second in the empty space here, introducing himself after me. And then we'll continue around the table. John will recap us where we picked up, or where we left off 4 months ago, because it's been a while. And then we'll hop in to the action. So I am Don, and I play Ether Revia, the Grave Domain Cleric, in this one.
I am Paul, and I play Felix Gray.
Ooh, not that bad of a delay, actually. Very
Yeah,
impressive,
that was pretty
Don.
close.
Well done.
Thank you.
I'm not Lawrence, and I play Yalum Low.
I'm Glenn, and I play Vorst.
I'm Sarah, and I play Ritora, a druid.
You gotta tone that down. That's way too tall.
Mute.
It's muted.
And I'm DJ, and I play Nesgrim.
Our favorite man.
Stop it.
Jelly, thank you for
That's-
the 200 bits. Thank you so much.
That's way too loud.
Loud for Paul. I'm John, the Dungeon Master for the City of Oshuamp. So to catch us up in the speediest way I possibly can, going through the majority of the opening portions of the campaign. Most of our companions were not originally from the City of Oshuamp. They traveled here. Ritora and Nesgrim aboard a caravan, met some people, found Ether in his bone shop, went to the bone museum, found out the city's really bad, super cold, very scary, really poorly run, everything's bad, and that's not just Ether. We eventually watched Jerky die, Jerky killed someone, Jerky got executed. We went through the next day, delivered some books, met some people, found some sisters in an orphanage, realized that John wove Grimdar, Bran, and Nina into the campaign somehow, which is truly terrifying, because it definitely has implications for us for the future. We tried to save people in the orphanage, got attacked by bandits, killed some bandits, found an unconscious lady. Unconscious lady was a kind of messed up person in terms of being habitually poisoned by a hag that resided inside of the orphanage, ferrying children away. We found out about Maribel, figured out she was going to become a hag in 9 more days, went to Corin, got Corin over there, got Maribel out. Corin's a hero. We love Corin. We were afraid of Corin. We love Corin again. Corin left. Kind of weird. Found him again. Corin's gone again. Really complicated character, I guess you could say in a nutshell.
I feel like you're the guy at the end of drug commercials.
Pretty much, dude.
I also just
Listing
realized
side effects.
that rags rhymes with hags. So, whatever, maybe there's something there.
Yeah, I really like your hags.
The hags are made from rags.
I'm glad to have you back. Yeah, next we found out about vampires. Vampires are a totally fucking weird-ass thing, so we... Oh my god, so much has happened. It's been 3 days. Yeah, we found out about vampires. We went looking for vampires. Madeline dragged us down into the desecrated chapel, cathedral below the chapel inside of the orphanage. We found a vampire in there who beat the shit out of Nesgrim and tried to eat his neck. We eventually stabbed her when she jumped into a pool of blood, ripped her apart, cut off her head. Ether kept doing weird ritual shit. Statue came to life, spooky incantations and invocations, horrifying infernal writing on the walls, spooky plaque, name woe fell off, run real fast, get away. Figured we killed one of the 7 vampires out, named Sisters of Sorrow. She was Woe, real name Amber, used to work at the orphanage, dead. Asked her, I guess Ether asked her some questions in his visions, saw that she totally stabbed herself and was pretty fucking deranged. Don't really know what's going on with that. Ether tried to take the knife, couldn't do it, too cursed. Bad.
Couldn't do it too cursed. Bad. I need that as a quote. I really do.
Thank you. What the fuck else did we do? We met Buck briefly for 3 solid episodes. Buck helped kill the vampire. Buck's gone. Back out hunting into the woods, into the wild. Corin's just doing shit. We met Luna. Luna's great. DJ tried to flirt with her. TJ tried to flirt with another person. TJ tried to flirt with another person. Keep striking out. Great time. Bad. all day long. It's really great. You still have to go to Nivara's shop, though, and buy some of her wares. or at least browse them.
Why do you put that in quotes, John?
Browse or wears.
Well, how both?
Bad. It'll be fine, dude. Just go have a good time. Great. She'll treat you right. It's not the cursed eye for a reason. Great shop name. Love it. Yeah, we met Luna, got introduced to the idea of there's a guild in the city that helps to protect the isolated peculiars by ferrying them over here to the guild. We know that we hide people. We know that Corin was assisting them in procuring some kind of medical beer named ailment. I don't know, improv. Forrest works there. He's a bodyguard. We think he hunts heads. We also think Yalumlo hunts heads. We're pretty sure half our party are murderers. Paul's convinced. Paul disappeared for like 2 days and came back. Clark, the pawn man's a good guy. He broke his arm. We don't know why yet still. We know he was an orphan. Corin got his parents killed because he protested. And yeah, they burned down half of the North slums. Yeah, dude. Bad city. Real bad fucking city. Big cold.
When you put it
John,
all like that.
I feel like you were like going straight and then
Weird! I realized how many twists and turns I've woven into the 3 days that we've been into the city, and I've realized, man, we're going really fast for 3 days at a time. Holy shit.
It's been bottled up for 4 months and it's just exploding
Yeah,
out of you
essentially.
now.
Yeah, we found the name Oshuamp while we were in the desecrated chapel. We learned that it was Orcish. We couldn't read Orcish. We eventually confessed to Faye and Luna and Grace, 3 of the members of the guild in Luna's Tavern. The name Oshuamp, we learned that it was the old name of the city of Oshuamp, that it was what the orcs called it. Ether had some visions with some bones that he found from orcs in the desecrated chapel. And yeah, they said Oshuamp and dropped some horrifying gold at his feet. We don't really know remotely what's going on with Ether's visions. We met my favorite man in the world, Adrian, who also has visions, called Ether a Watcher, because he sees things.
he did what?
Called him a Watcher.
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, you were out of the room.
No, that was in the beginning when you guys first entered the
that's right.
shop.
What?
That's right.
And
yeah.
we went, you sell bones, and we went, yeah, you have a connection to death. And you were like, yeah, I help ferry people across. And he was like, come here, buddy. Come here right now.
Let me taste your soul.
Essentially, yeah. Kind of, continually calls everybody in the party delicious or delectable, which, I'm going to grind you up and make you into delicious potions.
I don't think I've been bestowed that honor yet.
Not
Someday.
yet.
Not yet.
You gotta hang out with him more.
Yeah.
Adrian opens up after a little while. You just tell him you sell bones or you like death. Either one of those two things.
Or
will
that
get-
you've died.
Yeah, or that you died. That was a great throw. Him under the bus. Can someone go with him? That dude died. Yeah, come here.
He's the one.
Yep. He's the guy for
It's what
me.
you've always wanted.
Yeah, spooky, horrifying visions. Nesgrim's father died back in a weird city. Totally had a sickness similar to what we know the widow's wail / white bone causes. Nesgrim wasn't able to see his father die, so that's still wonderfully unresolved. It's fine. Not a vampire. It's fine. He's a good guy.
I didn't even consider that.
Right?
Corin is my dad.
God damn it! Papa! Papa, where'd you go?
Papa, can you hear
Oh god,
me?
he's a...
Yeah, we had the horrifying vision of the dwarves in the mine when they went to go get the coronet of wrath that Sister Sabrina supposedly gave to Sister Madeline, but doesn't really know whether or not we actually gave that to her because Sister Madeline's insane. Sister Madeline had a vision. We went to go ask Corin about the dwarves. Sick dwarves, bad. Well poisoning, conspiracy, political stuff. Really convoluted, really complicated. Very fun, though. Really having a good time. More conversations at the tavern. We've been here literally for 2 solid episodes. It's been a very long conversation with introducing ourselves to Vorst, getting ourselves some additional information in terms of what's going on, finding out about Vorst with the Orcish warbands inside the woods of Nerenter, which are the northwest woods outside of the city of Oshuamp. Terrifying Orcish warbands, really scary spiked orc with big barbed horny tail and enormous spiked horns coming out of his skull. He ate Vorst's people.
Bad.
Bad. Like, literally ate his people. And yeah, Vorst came to the city to hide, works now as a bodyguard here, and hangs out. And yeah, Sarah, the bad hag lady that, attacked Sarah, Deciel. I mean, I guess I should say Ritora didn't attack Sarah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, you totally.
Didn't attack Sarah yet.
Yet. Just wait. Yeah, Deciel, the sister in the orphanage that we slaughtered, who was a hag in episode 4. We discovered her brother, Delwyn, was the man who was sending the tea and the horrifying desecrated earth north towards the city of Oshuamp that she was using on Sister Madeline because it gives hallucinations. And yeah, bad time. I think we're almost there. Oh yeah, Delwyn was a professor at the Academy in the Inner Sanctum. Sarah didn't know that. It happened 30 years ago. She started working with him 20 years ago. Adrian was his most prized pupil at the Academy in the Inner Sanctum. And Adrian was eventually expelled from his studies for working with the occult. So we are here, still inside of Growler's Tavern, 4 months later. It's been a very long 4 months.
If you missed anything, the recaps are all on the website and in the wiki. The wiki's not finished,
NotGreatRPG.com. Check it out.
but the recaps are there,
Correct.
as well as the VODs and the podcast, if you want to catch up.
We have multiple ways for you to catch up and watch stuff.
So, here inside of Growler's Tavern, having concluded our meal, everyone sat around the table. We still have Grace, Faye, Luna, and little Leo sitting around after having had the conversation about the wonderful man Delwyn, Adrian's professor at the Academy in the Inner Sanctum some 30 years ago, and Delwyn being a man that Luna knew since he was also her professor at that time 30 years ago when she was a teenager, before she, as we can recall, again 4 months, was expelled and kicked out from her family, and that was why Luna ended up at the orphanage when she was about 15 years old.
Faye?
Or, sorry, Faye. Thank you. Oh my god, I confuse Luna and Faye all the goddamn time, because they're like so identical to me, because Faye is from Luna, and I made Luna, so they're like very woven together. But yes, thank you. Faye was the one who was expelled from the Inner Sanctum, and expelled from her family who lived inside of the Aderost. We pick up right here with the revelation of Adrian being his prized student.
I'm just going to say I left off with, oh no?
You did.
Yeah.
Oh no?
How many connections does he have here in the city?
Delwyn?
Yes.
I mean, it has been some time since anyone has reported his physical presence in the city. But I believe because of his sister's existence here.
Sister's...
Apostrophe S, as in possessive. Not plural.
like...
Oh, there's a lot of them. No, because of his sister's presence here still lingering in the city as she worked at the orphanage this entire time, we believe that there is still the possibility that Delwyn had an awareness and consistent sense of resources within the city. But we do not know why he chose to forsake his position at the Academy and leave the city. I imagine it is in some way connected to your woods.
I would imagine so.
Yes. Perhaps almost called home, in a sense.
Was he from there?
I don't know. Again, as my professor, I was somewhat acquainted with him in a friendly way, but I was very young and admired him for his intellect and prowess with magics. I believe that Adrian piqued the darker sides of his curiosities and was a eager and willing pupil.
He seems to be quite a dangerous man.
Perhaps. Adrian's interactions and functions here in the city have never overtly been dangerous.
Sometimes one makes sacrifices to meet an end.
Indeed. Any investigations that we have made into him have yielded nothing, though. As peculiar and curious as his shop may be for the trinkets and items inside, there's no evidence of any wrongdoing.
Interesting. Yet troubling still.
Indeed.
I am certain that he does serve a purpose within the city, but his presence still concerns me.
It has concerned all of us for some time. Again, it is why we do our best to keep an eye on him, but nefarious actions don't really seem to be his method. Again, at least openly.
Has he been visited by guards before?
Oh, presumably. I can't recall a time in which we witnessed such a thing. His shop, with being close, though, nothing riotous stands out to us.
Does he have a tendency to take particular interest in certain people?
Suppose you could say so. He always finds young Leo truly remarkable and curious. But Leo's innocence is something that we choose to protect. You see Leo literally just like still sitting in Luna's lap, just like poking the bread. I made this! And she just pats him on the head. You did, buddy.
You said Leo is a gnome?
I believe Leo's a halfling or a
Halfling.
gnome. One of the two.
Yeah.
Have we seen many other...
Of either of those? A few. There have been a few shopkeeps that are those. Like Katie is as well.
True.
I believe Beatrice, the one lady who you went into to purchase cloaks from. Again,
Yeah, I
off the
think
top
so.
of my head.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
So they're not uncommon.
They're not
by any
uncommon.
means.
They're not as far as and for the people outside of the city of Oshuamp, you would have seen these people quite frequently. So I would not say that there is any indication to any of you that these races would be considered peculiar.
Or exotic was the other one, right?
Correct.
I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that Leo is able to prepare delicious foods.
Leo is quite gifted. Literally. You just see Leo just kind of like look up and just like grabs at his neck. I am! You see he just clasps.
How is Leo gifted?
Oh, you can show them, Leo. You watch as he just pulls this little silvery chain out from his neck. And you can see that embedded in it is a long, think of effectively like the Final Fantasy crystal shape. A long topaz in that shape inset into a little clasp that goes about halfway down the length of the jewel. This! Get out of here, fly. That's my coffee.
How did a fly get in here?
don't know.
We're so far from the outside.
We got a lot of doors.
But yeah, Leo holds up this little, dangling topaz from his neck. Gifted!
Where...
What is that exactly?
Magic gem?
A magic gem?
Uh-huh.
And that is how you produce the food?
Uh-huh. Can only do it a couple times a day, and then it goes dull.
Is it dull right now?
Is that why you hide that around your neck so
Huh?
that people do not see it?
Yeah, nobody knows. Big secret. Oh, God, it's supposed to be a secret, isn't it? And he just looked up at Luna. Dude, we trust them. Like, what? Why would we tell you to show them it if we didn't want you to show them it? I don't get it. It's fine. She just rubs his head again. He's like, bread.
I love him.
Right? Sweetest, most innocent little boy. Yes, when we found Leo several years ago as a young boy wandering the streets, a bit lost and aimless, befuddled, but wearing this jewel around his neck. And after some investigations, we discerned its magical properties, and Leo has truly taken a liking to being our little baker boy.
So you keep him out of trouble, and in exchange, he cooks
Indeed.
for you.
Indeed. And he enjoys owning his own shop, and she just kind of legitimately air quotes owning. He's very proud of his hard work. I bake bread.
I understand that as a business owner myself.
Indeed. Business.
What?
Owner.
Do anything.
Business boner?
Oh.
I did not say that.
I for sure made the air quotes.
That's the kind of shit you get fired for.
Don, you're banned.
Do forgive me speaking out of term here, but why is Adrian such a trouble to you? He seems to have done quite a bit of frightening to you.
Quite a bit
boy.
of frightening, yes.
You want to come with us?
Yes, would you...
It'll be pretty clear.
do you want to meet Adrian?
Have you met Adrian?
I have not met him in person, but know of him. I know stories of him. I've heard theories surrounding the investigations.
Like what?
Much like what Faye and Luna were just saying.
It doesn't take. I think within a few minutes of meeting him, most of us were on edge.
He does things similar to what I do, yet different enough to be of some concern to someone like me, who is looking out for others that deserve a life or do not.
And you just watch Faye kind of like pause momentarily, and her head tilts and then looks over at you. You do something similar to Adrian, sir?
In a sense, and I pull out my my brazier and all of my stuff and just kind of set it on the table. It is my duty to guide lost souls across the river to
You say...
whatever lies beyond.
You say duty, sir?
Yes, self-imposed.
I was going to
Duty.
ask you who proposed that you do this.
No one. It was a result of my upbringing and events that happened in my past that led me down this path in my life.
What kind of events that have called you to this profession?
Losing someone that I cared about very much. And I do not wish to have others go through what I have been through in my life, nor do I wish for anyone to be lost.
She just kind of like curiously smiles and her eyes sparkle a little bit. An honorable man.
I do my best.
You're one of them, though? Aurevia.
I am. Why do you know that name?
Did you even tell us your name?
His last name?
I don't think.
I don't think so. No, I might have. I'm not sure.
You might have in like episode 1 when you introduced yourself.
Maybe episode 1. I don't think I've said it since.
Nope.
Do any of us know what that word means? Is that in a language
speaking
that any of us
Elvish.
speak?
Sarah, you do. Anyone else speak Elvish? Yes.
Nope.
Paul, you speak Elvish as well. All of you would know that the name Revia means wanderer.
Grab that for you. Wanderer?
Hmm.
You say this name like it is a title and not a name?
It is an honorific title bestowed upon those who perform these tasks. You asked me before what Adrian's last name is. He is a Revia as well.
So it's not a family
No.
name?
In most Elvish culture, we do not have family names. It depends on
That's why you don't have a family
Yeah.
name either.
the type of elves, but it is given to us by our mother generally, and describes what it is we will do in life. That is why that is my name. That is a concern that Adrian also holds that title, but it makes sense, I suppose, given what he does and other things about him.
Indeed.
Are Revias common?
Not remotely.
I have never met another or heard that name other than just now.
Two in one district seems common.
Indeed. As though something draws them to this area. Perhaps a duty to guide.
I think it has something to do with the fact that the city is filled with a lot of people that do not have too many choices with what to do with their lives and are forced to make tough choices, and that can put them in situations to either be in need of help or taken advantage of, depending on who it is.
Indeed.
In my case, I choose to help those that are lost. Adrian chooses to do other things with his gifts. Things that I would not personally do and do not condone, but
Sometimes wanderers stray from the path, Mr. Ether. I pray you do not someday stray.
It
I
seems
hope
to
so as
me
well.
that these wanderers have settled here. Ether has been here for quite some time,
Indeed.
and here you tell it, Adrian has been here even longer still.
Indeed.
What
How
is
did
it
they
that
wander then?
makes them wanderers? Exactly.
How many lives have you wandered into, Mr. Ether? Countless, I'm sure.
I do not keep track anymore. I lost count years ago. I tried to keep track and write down every person that I came across, but it became too numerous and tedious to keep track of. Now I just honor them the best that I can.
It seems without quite literally wandering, you guys have settled in a place together, which with my times moving throughout the woods, finding new land, the only reason to stay is fertile ground.
Fertile. Indeed.
I do a fair bit of wandering, perhaps in the vicinity of the city and also in whatever realm I take these people across the river. I have walked many steps, many lives worth of steps.
A place of great death, where you choose to wander.
Generally, I search for people out in the cold and try to help them find their way across.
You are not so different from this widow's wail.
I suppose not. I wonder if my footsteps have in some way followed the grounds in which they live.
Perhaps.
Perhaps that is what draws me to these people.
Perhaps. perhaps extensions of a single heart. A heart you must find in yourself or in others, your companions here.
They are all good people, from what I can tell. I've
Indeed.
had to help this one a few times. Deservingly so. Do not take what I do lightly. You have business to attend to on this plane of existence, but if you reach a point in which you have completed your goals, I will assist you across, but I will not revive you. It is not my way.
Is that something I can take you up on at any point? Am I able to cross the river at will?
I think it's once you're dead.
Yes, you would not be able to come back, but when you have finished whatever business you have on this plane and it is your time to pass on, I will guide you across. Until that point, I will do my best to keep you alive, but after that, I will help you pass on.
I appreciate that.
The same goes for all of you. I trust you.
I mean, I for one will do my best to keep you alive. Regardless.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Apparently I do need help. The city has
Quite a bit.
been quite harsh to me.
It's terribly evident.
You have like a scar still.
I'm covered in scars.
You look gross.
We came in here for dinner. About what time is it now?
7-ish p.m. So, starting to settle into the night.
Did we establish what we were...
Nope.
You had made a mention of an armor.
Yes, I do need to repair my armor. As
Clearly.
as I've said,
If we journey into the woods, you'll need lighter armor.
Or at
True.
least quieter.
yes,
That is true, you are quite loud.
I know.
Yeah, you're the only one amongst us in
It's
heavier armor.
impolite to insult his nature as such.
It is not an insult, simply an observation. He is loud and has also fallen the most out of us. I can see some sort of correlation could be made.
I worry about him having weaker armor.
I understand your concern.
Do you endanger yourself or your friends?
I inadvertently endanger my friends by endangering myself.
I don't know about that.
It is better to remain unnoticed and be quieter than it is to be more protected against things that hear you coming. The element of surprise is something that is invaluable when hunting.
And I can probably keep my shield, so I will still have some form of defense.
As long as you don't draw additional attention to yourself.
I'll-
Compelling others to fight you may not be a good idea.
Ritora, I thought I could take him.
I was a bear.
And he ripped your throat out.
I could not take him. He got the best of me.
He did like nat 20 at the time, right?
Yeah, I totally crit the shit out of your throat. It was great.
Right after he got back up. too.
Yep. Now, as
I will-
I've said, if you choose to venture out into the Fellwood, or into the woods of Nerenter, depending on the types of herbs you are looking to procure, Vorst can accompany you and assist you and direct you, based on his visions, as best as he may.
His visions.
But that's...
Yes.
Your visions, Forrest.
I know where the location of some of these herbs and berries are found.
Yes, dreams.
Dreams.
Indeed.
Horrifying dreams, if that's what you want to call them.
Well-
You mentioned these dreams before. Are they continuing even now?
Not now, no. It's only fever dreams mostly. Brought on by an infection or a poisoning or some form of trauma that is done to you. And my people would have these fever dreams after becoming infected. And they would tell tales of these really horrendous, nightmarish areas, of which this seems to be the place that you all want to go.
What infection was affecting your people?
We're not quite certain as to what the toxin used was. Again, Vorst was the only one who returned from his people. The descriptions are harrowing, but they are not poisons of which any of us are familiar.
What purpose could someone have for poisoning
An entire people.
an entire nomadic people?
Can you think of nothing, Mr. Nesgrim?
Why did you say it like that?
That is fair. Now the real question, Vorst, then is why were you spared?
I wasn't.
But how
I fought. And I
You
ran.
fought the infection?
I fought the orcs
But
that were bringing the infection.
understood.
Indeed. Again, why we call it a poison. Coated blades.
So the orcs attack with purpose.
Indeed. And chose to leave victims alive.
Yalumlo, you were in a logging accident and one of the few to make it back, is that right?
That is correct.
Was it in the Narenter Woods as well?
It was not.
And you don't recall what attacked you?
I do not know that I was attacked. It was an accident.
DJ just...
It seems many things in Oshuamp have been covered or explained away with another reason. Do you think it's possible you were?
I think I do not recall what happened. I woke up in the woods, and I walked back to Oshuamp, and I have been with you ever since. You'll recall that you threatened me when I entered the orphanage.
I don't regret that.
Nor do I. We had just been attacked the night before. While you did not appear to be another bandit, they seemed very intent on entering the orphanage.
You make a habit of being attacked?
Well, we've only been here 4 days, and it's happened several times already.
He seems to be a liability.
I wasn't going to say it, but he has done...
You know, I've been attacked several times since arriving here.
Given his age, though, he seems to know how to survive one way or another.
He does. He has a purpose.
I think truly what you all must be wondering is if isolated peculiars are hunted, why, if you are not isolated, are you instead still hunted?
There are several of us.
Indeed.
Do we pose a threat?
Perhaps to those who perform these heinous intentions, or perhaps there is something valuable about you, each of you.
It is also possible we are hunted by different groups simultaneously. It does not have to...
Be a singular? Of course, it does not.
I know at least one group comes for me specifically.
Indeed.
What group is that?
Those men in the cloaks that we saw at the stairs of the orphanage.
You gotta speak up.
They followed me from my home. Presumably friends of Delawin, if I had to guess.
Why would Delawin send men after you?
Did I explain this last week?
Yes,
last
you.
week.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I explained this
Last week. Oh God,
yes,
I've lost so much time.
Sarah explained that 4 months ago. Sarah explained that back at her home in the Avith Woods, she worked with Delawin to attempt to protect the soil and remove the desecration. She attempted to cure the plague that was defiling her hometown. And that Delawin betrayed her, and she caught him siphoning the life out of the soil itself and selling it to people. And then he attacked her and blamed her instead, utilizing his reputation in the woods and in the city nearby. That.
Vorst, have you physically seen the location of these herbs not in your dreams? Has someone been there to verify the things that you are seeing are true? Obviously, Corin has brought you things and various herbs, but...
Well, the ingredients for the ailment are not procured from the woods of Narenter specifically.
But other people within the city must get, such as Adrian, must get their source from somewhere.
Indeed.
Have you physically seen these locations?
I have not. With it being described in such vivid detail often, and the berries being described and the plants being described almost exactly as they were described in the dreams, I can only assume that what they've seen could only be some type of reality. Has to be kind of real.
I am wondering if the reason that some people are left alive by these orcs is so that they may lure people into their woods to obtain seemingly valuable objects. If no one has physically seen that they are where these fever dreams indicate they are, and these orcs attack with a purpose, perhaps there is something to gain by them luring others into the woods.
That very well might be true. But it's not only one type of orc that we're dealing with here.
Which woods are these?
Uh-huh.
There's the Narenter wood,
Narenter.
and then there's the
Felwood.
So
Felwood.
3 woods have been described to you so far. Northeast of the city, the woods in which Yalum Lo and Ether performed their activity are the Felwood. To the northwest of the city of Oshuamp, the first section are called the Woods of Narenter, and then north of that, in vague descriptions, through the fever dreams recollected by Vorst through his people, are the woods known as the Kragaj, which I believe I did tell the name.
I think you told it while
You did.
these
I
three
did.
were out of the
Okay.
room.
Oh,
And if they didn't go back and watch the episode, then they may not have heard
Yeah,
the
I
name.
don't have it.
correct.
I'll pretend I didn't hear it.
We would not have known.
Yep.
And where did Corin go? Did he say?
Corin did not indicate which woods he went into. He only said that he must go north to find the hags to bargain for Mary Bell's life.
And did he collected the ingredients for the
The ailment.
Did
Correct.
do we know where he?
No, you only know that he returned. The first time you met him, he literally returned with a pack mule and the bags of them on the back of the pack mule.
We do know he harvested widow's wail from the mausoleum. That we know.
I mean, at least in part, it wasn't like consistently that he requires it. It is definitively an ingredient, like in part. But yes,
Do we-
that was one of the areas in which he gathered it. Correct.
And we got the list of ingredients, right?
Yes.
I can't read my handwriting.
It's not good.
As ethers.
I could only
herbs.
give you descriptions of some of them. I don't remember exactly what
I
they were
wrote them all
called.
down. I was planning on rewriting them, and I just never did.
Oh, wait, no, here they are.
The names of the herbs.
Bloodberry, fleshwort, and mordane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we don't know where Bloodberry is from, but Fleshwort and Mordane are from the Narranter Woods.
Correct.
Which is where Verse
And
is from.
the other one that is what he's saying he saw in the Kragaj. And that's why he's saying that if we want to do
Right.
this, it's Woods of Narranter and then the Kragaj. Like, you have to do both woods to get all three herbs. And that's why, again, the other option was go barter with Adrian and see what you're willing to give him in exchange for these things.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and there's no indication of what he might ask for these incredibly rare, treacherous to find herbs.
Well, it couldn't hurt to ask Adrian what he
It could.
Come
What-
home to me,
to
mister.
just ask what he wants.
As-
It could hurt.
What if he wants you?
Well, there are certain things that would be off the table, of course.
Would you be off the table?
Would you buff his table?
Right? Or would you be on the
Buffalo
table?
his table? What if he wants Felix or Vorst?
Well, like I said, some things are off the table, any of our lives being one of them. But
And if
I
he knows that
simply-
we are after these ingredients that he needs,
I don't think he would have any reason to know that now.
he would know once we asked
Well,
after
of
them.
of course, yes.
I fear as though asking the question will simply lead to more questions and demands from him based on our previous interaction. If you recall, they were very cryptic yet specific wording in the things that he said.
This is true, yes.
Now, there are 6 of us, but he is very insistent on only letting specific people
He
into
does-
his secret basement, and I assure you I am no longer welcome after our last interaction.
I do not imagine that you care much to go back. At all.
I would go if everybody goes, but I fear we may have no choice. I am concerned that an expedition into the woods may yield very little, assuming these herbs are there at all, or could result in one of us dying.
We have been here, at least the 2 of us have, and Felix just came in not
Mhm.
long before us. Only a few days, and have been warned multiple times that traveling far into the woods, even by you as well, is ill-advised. If
It
we
is.
are able to get what we need without doing so, it would be foolish not to attempt to do so first.
I suppose you're right.
I want to see him
Okay.
no more than you do.
Okay.
I've missed
It's
him.
quite a roller coaster.
Yes. All right.
That's
But
scared me
I
momentarily.
It seems there's danger no matter how we go about procuring these herbs.
It is possible one of us will die regardless of the scenario. I suppose we are less likely to die with Adrian in the middle of the city than we are to orcs in the middle of the woods, but again, secret basement. Anything is possible, I suppose.
You are nothing if not optimistic.
I mean, he's still
I try to be realistic about expectations. I am not one to be overtly positive when it is not warranted.
Adrian may be a
Monster.
yeah, that's probably the word I would have used. But he also is running a business within the city. I can't imagine he would jeopardize that.
I mean, unless one of us advances his business. We do have several interesting people in our party.
There are 6 of us.
Yes.
The Felix smile.
Would it still be early enough in the day to make it back over to Adrian before he closes up?
Yeah. He's open until the...
Early hours.
I
of
get the
morning.
feeling he would
Yeah.
let
2
us
a.m.
in.
He's like Denny's.
Mm-hmm. Coming for the Grand Slam, Mr. Nesgrim. Served only in the basement.
That's what we're calling it.
Oh.
Well,
Come back to me, Mr. Nesgrim.
Specifically, we're looking for the berries. What are they called? The
Bloodberry?
Bloodberry.
bloodberry.
We
would
had
that would be the hardest of the ingredients to
That is the one that
procure.
is in the Kurgage.
Yeah,
Not a
that's
sex thing. Yes, Paul. Lawrence.
we had checked the weather when we were discussing potentially going out into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to recall what you told us?
No?
I believe it was
Would you like to tell the woman with her hands out?
Clear.
You believe it was
I'll give
clear?
you clear. I
Yeah.
think so, because I
Sure.
feel like the last day had been when the heavier snow was.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
So,
I haven't been
we'll go
keeping
with
track
clear,
of that.
'cause
I didn't
fuck
expect
it.
to go 4 months without playing. So.
Yeah, same. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, like, if you want to go out, I'll give you the clear weather, at least in the beginning, for the 24 hours. It's going to be an arduous journey without me dicking you over with snow. So,
Yeah, I believe you had told us it was clear, but it's like the journey's going to take like 2 to 3 days. So
correct.
We're subject to.
Correct.
Subject to getting
Nature.
dicked by snow
Yes,
anyway.
absolutely.
If we are going to check with Adrian and potentially still have to go into the woods, then perhaps we should see Adrian before the morning.
I would say
That
so.
way, if we do have to go into the woods, we can address the armor issue and get moving while we still have
The weather on our side.
appropriate weather.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yes, that's true.
How much of a temperature difference is there between daytime and nighttime when it's not snowing? Is it just
Not
consistently
overly
cold?
dramatic. I mean, it would drop maybe from like 30 to about 18 to 20. So still very cold, but not exclusively sub-zero. I will say that, Don, you as a person who has spent nights out, you do know that around midnight to like 2, 3 a.m., it gets
Yeah, it's
sub-zero. That is, again, why like the Arctic weather clothing is definitively important.
Yeah.
Because I have to know how many...
Zero.
I have to know how many pieces of it, because like I can't make it where one thing is sufficient.
Yeah.
It's X number of pieces are thresholds within certain temperature
Yeah.
ranges to make it where you're either making the survival check at advantage, disadvantage, or traditionally.
Like you need a coat for when it's kind of cold. You need a coat and sweatpants if it's really cold.
Yep.
You need furry underwear for Sub-Zero.
Yeah, effectively.
So we need to
Get your
find
boots.
tracksuits.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Vorst is just fine.
Correct.
Nice.
You got that bone still?
Which woods would we be journeying in first?
The Narenter.
Nerenter.
Isn't it obvious?
Yeah. The woods of Nerenter, and then into the Kurgage after.
We're trying to
Are
avoid
any
the
of the herbs
Kurgage.
found in the Fellwood?
No, not in the Fellwood.
Not the ones that we are looking to procure.
The ones that I utilize, I am able to find easily, but if we are looking for me to attempt something similar to...
It's also the 3 herbs that you guys are looking for are the 3 herbs that are not overlapping.
Right,
Like,
correct.
again, it's been 4 months, but I
Yeah.
believe I said that there were 2 herbs that you do find in the Fellwood that you do have a supply of still.
Yeah.
That he would be able to just say, like, we don't need to go into the Fellwood, I have some of it.
And these are herbs
Okay.
to make ailment, right?
Well, they're used to make, some of them are used to make ailment. Again, there's like 12 herbs that are kind of utilized for various purposes where they overlay.
Yeah, he uses...
For huffing.
we both use Teardrop,
Correct.
Bowen's Flower, and Ash Leaf, but he does not use Mallow, and he used Bloodberry, Flushwort, and Mordane, which I don't use.
Correct.
I
Some of
use,
these herbs
Bowen's
are
Leaf.
for the drug visions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember we
So
had
that
talked
we don't
about
have to talk to Crazy for drug vision.
right for drug vision.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah, effectively, I
Talk
view
to
this
Wes
as
crazy
you guys
for
are
breakfast.
trying to give yourself an opportunity to not rely on Adrian for the visions that Adrian has demonstrated he does.
Also, I would just like to point out it's incredible that I have notes.
Notes,
It's
right?
wild.
Isn't it nice?
Imagine not having fog written anywhere.
Right.
You can still write it.
Visions.
Drug visions.
Well, if we are going to speak to Adrian, we may want to do that soon.
Might I make a suggestion?
Of course.
If these are your plans, you plan to visit this man of which you obviously do not like and
Correct.
perhaps even fear a little bit.
Definitely fear.
Very true.
Don't know
then-
that I would say fear, but
I fear him.
You plan on entering Narenter and then the Kragaj. I would highly suggest probably fortifying yourself beforehand because you seem to think that this man Adrian is going to put up a fight.
do not
It's-
have any reason to believe that.
I don't believe he will put up a fight.
He's just a scary man.
There's
We've
something
been there once before.
unnerving.
You will see when you meet him.
I don't think it is a fight that you can physically prepare for, if there is one.
I have never found a fight that I couldn't physically prepare for.
We'll come meet Adrian. Well, friends, I think it may be time. If you don't mind, while you run to Adrian, I just have a last couple questions for Faye.
I
Right.
think we will wait. We could wait outside if you need privacy. We are not going to go see Adrian without.
Everyone. And you're
That's
not
fair.
walking.
You will not be walking alone.
I was
Also
not
fair.
permitted to walk alone.
He does have a death wish.
Just
doesn't
down the
he?
street, right? It's like literally like
It's
two
three
doors
buildings
down.
down,
Like,
but
It's
it's
right
like we
there.
gotta keep our Nestrum's hand out.
not to be that guy,
Walking
but like
alone
I'll
is
let you
fine.
walk 2 doors. I think you'll be fine.
We
I
found
just-
out there was a vampire living directly under this very building. We don't know what could be under the building next door.
Corin was a perfectly
You said
lovely
he was
man.
friendly.
He was great.
I love
I
that
love
man.
that man. I love
He
Corey.
was friendly.
I just would like to make sure we go see Adrian before he closes. I'm worried that my
Of course.
conversation with Faye may run past his operating hours.
Perhaps you could come back and talk to Faye after if you.
Yes, I did
permit.
offer you all rooms here for the evening. That's
Oh.
why I shut the tavern down.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
DJ forgot about that.
that's fine. It's been 4 months.
DJ.
I appreciate your hospitality and kindness immensely.
Of course.
If there is anything we can do for you aside from hopefully procuring some additional herbs for you for your ailments, we would be
You
happy
will
to do
be-
anything we can.
Called upon in the future to
Understandable?
repay the favor.
Of course.
You're very welcome. Good luck with Adrian.
Before we go, I just have one quick question.
Uh-huh.
And it will actually be a quick question. It's kind of not
Are you my
gonna be
dad? You're my dad.
Are you my dad?
long. Are you familiar
Dad?
at all with the Sisters of the Monastery?
Monastery. What
Yes.
monastery?
That's a very good question. I only knew them as the Sisters of the Monastery.
No, I know of the sisters who work here within the city.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The Monastery of Acceptance.
Oh. Yes, they serve a purpose in the city of Ryak to watch over potential threats, individuals who may develop tendencies or demonstrate an exposure of some kind to more malevolent sources, as though something may exist within them.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you speak of possession?
Unfortunately, sir, I'm not quite sure. I've never visited Ryak as a city. I only know fragments through texts that I studied at the academy, so my knowledge is quite limited. However, I know that there was a bit of a pensiveness about some people, and they thought it better to gather them in one area and observe them and attempt to educate them and integrate them better for society. Attempting to, I suppose you could say, suppress their nature, to more carefully nurture them in better, more wholesome ways. Stamp out the barbarism or the wickedness that might someday consume them. I suppose you could say that that is something that you may have to be concerned about for yourself.
It's me.
They shouldn't visit the city then.
No, I suppose not.
They'd have their hands full.
Indeed they would.
What have you just found?
The Blithe Nurturer. I think it's me.
Why? Why?
I mean, that's.
Just out of characters, I don't know. Was that Nesgrim or was that DJ?
No, that's DJ.
That'd be DJ.
Okay.
Because Nesgrim's not going to talk about that right
Okay,
now.
well
but-
then we can have that
Blithe-
conversation in character.
Blithe Nurturer means nothing to any of us as
Yeah,
characters.
yeah.
Once we walk to Adrian's.
Yeah, I guess we'll
That
we'll
short,
get it.
brisk walk.
Yep. Plenty of time for this harrowing conversation.
It's gonna be the
I'm a
longest 2
monster!
blocks.
Oh!
No. We suck again.
Yeah, right? I guess we'll head out, unless you have any other questions for these wonderful ladies and Lil Leo. Yes, Paul?
I do.
Yes.
If we do venture out into the Narenter woods, would you be able to provide us with rations?
Absolutely. We could have Leo prepare for you all some sustainable items that would be sufficient to traverse with for a few days. We can, I suppose you could say, shut down his shop for a day. Say that Leo was under the weather or something. It's not like we necessarily need his coin or anything. He just kind of looks at his gem. They need me! This is great!
Yes, we do. Thank you, Leo.
Would you
Bread. Lots of bread.
would you also be able to send me with a supply of ailment?
Not necessarily a supply. I could part with a water skin that you could use should things become dire. But in terms of a supply, we only have the few remaining days, and not to be morbid, but I can't return or account for your return eventually.
No, I understand. Yes, just enough to sustain me on the
Of course.
the journey.
And you watch as Luna just like picks little Leo up off her lap and just places him on the ground like a fucking stationary Lego man. And then walks over towards the back. This fucking dude. And she just pulls out a little water skin from under the tavern, fills it, and offers it to you. Never fucking buffle anything.
I
Never. Promise?
promise. Yes.
Very good. She gives you the water skin. You motherfucker.
Give it back.
What does that mean?
Promises he can't keep.
Nazgrim,
Yes.
There's a curse on that water skin.
is there someone better suited to hold that?
Then a water skin?
No, you get stabbed a lot.
Oh.
Someone to hold the
I
water
don't
skin.
want it to get stabbed.
Someone to pour it into your mouth when inevitably you need it.
Ether, probably.
Probably.
Dear, would you mind?
I'd
Terribly.
say me, but I'm often a bear.
Yeah.
Let's not put all of our eggs in one Nesgrim.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Is that a euphemism?
Everything's a euphemism.
My confidence in him is just.
I know, right?
Fine.
Getting introduced to the party, and it's like, man, DJ, I was excited to play with you.
That's one of the notes that I had from last session. Is just it says in quotations Nesgrim minus 10.
Is that your reputation for
Yep.
Nesgrim?
Yeah.
I don't know why I made a
That's
note
your
of it.
reputation with DJ.
That's from all the dog jokes.
It was the dog
It
jokes.
was definitely the
Oh,
dog
yeah.
jokes, yeah.
It was the bone.
Does this bother you?
The bone? Does this bone bother
Go get
you?
it, boy.
Okay, go.
You're not bothered by bones, are you? I wouldn't want you to get triggered.
Out. outside we go, or anything else, friends?
I'm leaving Juniper with.
Yes, correct. We discussed that. Mm-hmm. Everyone good to go outside? You give Juniper a few loving pats, and
Yeah.
she just kind of looks up at you lovingly and blinks slowly a couple of times. Beep, beep.
Morse code.
Mm-hmm. Don't go woods, bad!
Bad.
Yep.
I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Head for the
Out.
door.
Outside. And we once more walk back towards my favorite home. Inside.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I gotta get warmed up.
If we
come on, get
if we
character,
murder
let's go.
Adrian, you're not gonna get to play him anymore.
You can't kill me.
Was that John or Adrian?
Adrian. Uh-huh.
John Drian.
I'll
Yes.
position myself to go in first.
Good. Okay. You approach back towards the staircase, the small staircase outside of Adrian's shop. You can see that inside it is still the same narrow shape, almost triangular, that looks as though it descends backwards towards his counter on the side.
As we're walking up, I'm going to position myself at the back, and I would like to, as we get to the top, as people are filing in, I'm going to turn and just kind of look at the street from the height of his building to see if anyone is
Being watched.
noticing us, or if there's anything suspicious going on in the area.
Sure, absolutely. Make a perception check, please.
12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay, so we begin filing in. The staircase is sufficient, I'll say, for, a couple of people to begin opening the door and stepping inside. And you take a brief moment to pause and do a scan of the area around you. I will say there's a few people who look like vagrants. It looks as though they have been individuals that have been occupied by shoveling snow for most of the day. They look
Sure.
as though they are sweaty and sitting out on the road in the small clumpings where there are just little piles of snow that they're almost using as improv chairs.
Sure.
They look as though they're drinking out of these fractured little flagons and shaking in the chill, but
Okay.
nobody looks as though they're paying attention to you. Like, definitely they notice people who are going through the street because they're beggars.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
like, they know you're going, they see that you're going, but I would say that you wouldn't interpret it as suspicious.
Yeah, there's nobody that looks to be, like, out of place.
Yeah, again, no weird dude in, like, a black cloak, like, I got stabbed.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And we step inside of Adrian's shop once more, and you can see that Adrian is sitting on top of his counter, his legs dangling over towards the front door of the shop, his gray robes hanging down over his legs. You can see his tall black leather boots striding up to the base, the hem of his cloak, and you can see that he is just dropping these silver coins in his hand, clanking them into his palm,
Darn it, that's so cool.
picking one up, dropping it again, picking it up and dropping it again. My friends,
Hello, Adrian.
Hello?
welcome home.
This is
Stand
not our
in
home.
front of Nezgrim.
Isn't it, Mr. Nesgrim? And he just elevates the coins to his hand, and you watch as he slides his tongue out over the silver coins. Marvelous. Marvelous indeed. I knew you would return to me. My precious friends. What can I do for you this time?
Beyond the matter that you and I discussed,
Indeed. What luxurious and delicious payment.
indeed, we would also like to speak to you of the ingredients that you use for the visions that you provided.
What of my ingredients?
It has come to our knowledge that some of these ingredients are perhaps quite difficult to procure.
They are quite so.
We are looking to procure some ourselves, I do not suppose that these are things that you could part with.
Why ever would you need to replace me?
Not a replacement?
We have other needs.
Other needs, darling. And you
talking.
watch as he just flips one of the silver coins up into the air. And as the coin begins to spiral and flip, you see a few droplets of blood cascade down from the silver coins. And he catches them in his other hand and immediately licks his palm. There is no replacing me. No.
As I said, not a replacement. A supplement.
Very well.
You are a busy man.
Quite busy.
I'm sure there will be times that we would have need of such wonderful gifts as your visions are able to provide.
Wonderful. Indeed.
And should we need this when you are unavailable, we have a Revia of our own.
Do you?
Indeed.
It seems you've become a bit more enlightened in the last day or so.
Indeed.
Brother.
Indeed, we have.
Indeed. And I wonder what treacherous paths you will wander.
I want to stand in front of both Nesgrim and Ether at the same time. Just I can't protect both of them at the same time, but I feel the need to.
Hopefully not one that crosses with yours, as you mentioned in our previous exchange. Wandering into another's vision is never good, nor safe.
Oh, it's not that it's never good, Mr. Ether. Some of the most exhilarating stories I've tasted have been shared. Perhaps one day we could share ourselves in the circle.
Shared with whom?
Shared with whom? Oh, how I long to see him again.
Who?
Brilliant man.
Don't look at me.
Do you look at her? Does Nesgrim look at her? No? You sure?
He's still sitting on the
I'm
counter,
standing in
right?
front of him.
True.
I'm not
So-
cluing Adrian into.
I don't know what he's doing.
Oh,
What was his name?
my mentor,
Yes.
Delowin.
And you would wander with him.
Oh yes, he held my hand the first times I journeyed with him out into the dark. He illuminated the way for me, and how I shone in his teachings.
Was this Delowin Erevia himself? Or something else?
He was given the name and chose to discard it when he left the city.
Why would he choose to discard something that you find so precious?
Because, as in all things, someday the student eventually surpasses his teacher. The gifts he bestowed upon me became my own. And he just kind of caresses his chest. Over his sternum.
I'm very concerned he is not alive.
Are there ramifications for forsaking your name?
I suppose you could say perhaps not ramifications, but part of a transaction. You may exchange something in replace for something else. As though there was a new name Delawin sought for himself.
Do you know
Did
what?
I know of any name that he had besides Delawin?
Any other name?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Do you know what name he sought?
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Oh, I'm good at those. Not good enough. That is a 10.
10. Mr. Nesgrim, how charming you are in your nature. They've done a brilliant job with you.
Who has done a brilliant job with me?
Who indeed, Mr. Nesgrim?
Do
Who
you-
hasn't?
Do you know something you're not telling me?
I know many
Definitely.
things, Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Nesgrim. I tasted of your story, remember? The fear in your father's neck.
The fear in his neck.
Indeed.
Specifically his neck.
You recall the shadows that bore behind him,
Yes.
stretching out?
Yes.
Can you think of no sign for yourself, Mr. Nesgrim?
No sign for myself.
You were taught acceptance, were you not?
Isn't everyone taught acceptance?
Of others. But you must accept yourself, Mr. Nesgrim, for who you are.
And who am I?
The child knows.
The child knows.
Nina.
What child? I do not have children.
No, you do not.
It's Nina.
Children don't possess any knowledge. They must be taught.
Your children are dumb!
They're stupid.
Oh, children possess a most special gift to see. To see
To see what?
your nature.
Adrian, it seems you may know more about me than you're letting on.
Of course. But where's the fun?
Adrian, you like scaring people, don't you?
I wouldn't say I enjoy scaring them. I think there is something magnificent that occurs when a soul suffers.
What?
Truly changes it.
What else do you know that would make me suffer?
Oh,
And I'm just like white knuckled gripping the bone that I
Mr.
have.
Nesgrim. And he holds his hand out and just beckons you closer. Come.
I'm gonna put my arm in front of Nesgrim.
You want to see?
We have business to attend to, so unfortunately I'm not able to.
No. Unwilling? Afraid?
I wouldn't say afraid, more
Our-
preoccupied.
Our time is limited.
And what is more precious?
Then...
Well, you want these herbs, do you not?
Oh, god damn it.
Mr. Nesgrim?
Are you suggesting that if I walk with you once more, you will give us the herbs?
I'm suggesting that.
Let us take a moment, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like to discuss that with my friends.
Friends. Call them what you may. And he begins to drop the silver coins into his other palm again. You just hear them clanking.
One last question. Would you allow me to bring company?
No, Mr. Neskrin.
God damn it.
This journey is for you and I alone.
Okay. What?
Not even. A fellow student.
Oh, God, no.
Oh my.
I will feign surprise. What?
Oh, I knew I smelled him on you.
Are all Watchers taught by Delawin? Wanderers, rather. All Revios.
You could have asked me that.
Oh, yes, I could have. Are they?
No.
Shit.
How do you know?
And what did my master teach you, child?
Not as much as I would have hoped.
Or more than you might know. Would you like to wander with Mr. Neskrim and I? It will be beautiful.
Ritora, it seems that in ways outside of our knowledge, we may be connected.
So it seems.
I think if everyone else is accepting of this payment, I'm willing to walk into a vision once more. Does anyone have any objections?
Good luck.
Thank you, Felix.
I have no objections,
Are you certain that you'll walk back?
but I do
With Ritora with me,
require
I have a better chance.
answers for payment previously accepted.
Of course, Mr. Yalumlo. And he just stares at the silver in his palm. I will say that your vision was quite miraculous and surprising to me, as I witnessed the death of another. How curious to see you in the snow, Mr. Yalumlo.
Curious indeed.
Indeed. Quite suspicious for your... not your own. Are you?
How do you mean?
Never have been. That is what the blood says to me. Not one, but two.
Two indeed.
Yes, Mr. Yalumlo.
I suppose you could say that is why I'm in Oshuamp.
Indeed. A noble man. To cherish family the way you do. I hope there was gratitude worth the suffering.
I'm afraid I was unable to see if that was the case with my own eyes.
And he just picks up one of the silver coins with his other hand, and you can see that it's stained around the rims, and he just inserts the coin into his mouth, and he slowly drags it out, and you watch as bits of saliva like drip off onto the ground as all of the blood is now removed from this last coin. I think there is a great sense of appreciation for your circumstances, but not just by your brother, Mr. Yathimlo.
Whatever could you mean?
And he just kind of swallows slowly, and he places the coins back behind them, disinterested, just swiping them off the countertop, and you hear them clang to the floor back behind the wood. Oh. They will be so proud of you, Mr. Yalumlo, when you are called home. And you can watch as he just rubs his hand suggestively on the wood right by him in a circular pattern in the area in which the jar was contained previously.
The eye is missing?
It's not out right now.
Gotcha.
He only puts the eye out when he has people that need to be watched.
You sound like you know who they are. A bargain, perhaps?
A family trade filled with luscious knowledge, ancient secrets and mysteries, trinkets with which we now explore one another's paths. I have been privy to their gifts, their sight. A Mr. Ether. Remember who taught you, brother.
We have both seen a great many things.
Yes, we have. Mr. Nesgrim,
Yes?
are you ready?
Ritora?
Take a step forward.
My sister.
I'm going to tap Ritora on the shoulder real quick and just hold out the water skin
Okay.
in case you need this.
I'll take that. And then I'll
Mm-hmm.
take Adrian's hand.
You take his hand. He once more in the same flat, exposed palm permits you to rest your hand in his, and he places his other along the lower part of your wrist over your palm, or over the back of your hand, and he just runs his fingers down all the bony parts of the back of your hand. Oh. Oh, he taught you well. Ooh. Do you not feel it?
I know what I know.
Are you certain?
No.
No, you aren't. There are answers. And he just points back towards the curtain that disguises the door. With me.
I suppose it's time.
Welcome back to playing, Sarah.
We gotta go on hiatus again, please.
I go from I have to keep this a secret. I can't let him know to Nesgrim's gonna die again.
Uh-huh.
Well, Ritora, I suppose it's time for us to go along.
Shall we?
Let's go. We're gonna follow Adrian.
Thank you, friends.
One last question, Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind giving us at least one of the herbs before I go with you? Not that I don't trust you, but...
Can you make a sleight of hand check?
Sure.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Nesgrim. I can't give you the herb right now.
Dirty
It
20.
hasn't. You do. It hasn't grown yet.
Oh, God.
Hark, Mr. Nesgrim.
Oh,
Lest you court the seraph's cry.
Adrian, what does that mean?
And he grips your wrist tightly, Sarah, and pulls you towards the door. Come along now.
I'm following. I mean... What does that mean?
We may not know now, but I'm sure we'll find out.
And you two walk over towards the narrow black door.
Mm-hmm.
He pauses for a moment by his desk, and he once more, with his other hand, reaches down, and you hear the scraping of glass along wood, and he elevates the distended eye in the jar, placing it on the counter.
I turn and look at Felix.
And he just pets the top of the jar, the lid.
Ugh.
And you watch as he drags his finger scraping along the outside of the glass. And you hear that shrill, piercing noise. And he just pauses as his hand lays on the glass and the eye turns towards his palm.
Ugh.
And you watch as he just shakes. Oh, your gift. I will always honor you. Come, my friends. Make perception checks, the two of you.
Both of us?
Yep.
Hey.
That's not bad.
Okay.
18.
18,
Oh, I have to math. 13.
13. You see as he turns his palm back towards himself after he's pulled it away from the glass, kind of like cupping. You can see that in the inside of his palm, it looks like there is a vacuous black circle, like a void, sunk into his skin, as though the skin is missing, but you can see directly into just that dark. It doesn't look like a tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
It looks as though the center of his hand is gone. And he pulls his hand tightly towards himself and pulls you towards the door. Remember, friends.
And that was his right
I'll
hand?
be watching.
That was his right hand?
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of look rather concerned towards my friends.
Uh-huh.
I smile.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's go get this over with, man.
You watch as he extends his hand onto the door, and he pulls the curtain lightly aside, and instead of opening the door, pulls the curtain out around the three of us, encasing us behind the curtain. And as the curtain goes to close, you see his head just lightly slide out from behind. Thank you. And his head slides back behind the
We're
curtain.
both dead. You're never seeing either of us again.
And you two hear the door creak open as he inserts his palm onto the handle. And the door shudders and shakes and creaks open. The other four of you do not hear a door. For now, farewell.
To you, my friend.
John.
Yeah.
So after he recedes behind the curtain, you say I don't hear anything.
Correct. You do not hear a door or anything like that.
So I would probably wait a few seconds, and then I'd like to start an internal counter in my head, counting the seconds.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Right?
Paul, if you want to deafen just so you can't hear them, I'll flag you when we're... I guess you'll see us come back in, and then you can undeafen. Or just
I'll
take
just take my
Yeah,
headphones off.
that works.
Also works.
Quick question. This is different than how he opened the door before.
Yes, it is, DJ. Yes,
It's been nice.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
What are you thinking for your next character?
Maybe like a rogue or something.
Damn, I was thinking.
a little more sneakier.
I was thinking a rogue. Damn.
So he places his hand, as I said, on the doorknob. The door shudders and shakes. And as he twists it and turns, he pulls the door back towards him. Now, Nesgrim, you had seen the basement before, and I previously described it as a nice dark wood, similar to what we've got on the elevations on the side here. When this door opens, you see that the wood inside looks wet and rotted, as though bugs curl through it rampantly,
What kind of bugs?
like maggots and termites and worms. You can see that the staircase that descends down looks as though there are pieces that are fractured and splintered, broken open. You can see that the same thin doorway as at the base of the steps and at the bottom is still a coat rack, but instead of notches of wood, you see that there is an upturned black claw protruding out from the wood.
Adrian, have you redecorated?
Oh, Mr. Nesgrim, how charming you really are. It is so good to have you home.
Ritora is definitely shaking.
Why
I
do
didn't
you?
want to do it, I didn't want to do it, I didn't want to do it, I didn't want to do it.
Why do you keep calling this place my home?
Oh, Mr. Nesgrim, you're still just a babe, are you not?
I'm not. No, I'm middle-aged. I'm a grown man.
As you are. And he begins to take slow, methodical steps down the stairs, the floorboards cracking and splintering underneath his feet.
Adrian, why is the basement different?
Different?
This is not the same basement I was in before.
Is it not?
No. For example, the coat rack was not made from claws.
I guess it is time for you to see what truly is here, Mr. Nesgrim. He reaches the base of the stairs.
I'm gonna reach out and just, with my spare arm, just grab Nesgrim and like lock arms with him, because I don't trust to not be like whisked away somewhere alone.
Give me 1 second. I was asked questions.
It wasn't like this before.
It's frightening. Yes, Astor, we went into the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, we need these herbs.
Yep. After I specifically said never again, immediately went there. And last time Yalumlo threw you under the bus, I threw myself right under.
Yeah.
You protected your friend.
If I had gone down here alone, especially with what the basement looks like now, I was not coming back.
Now, he descends the steps and stands on the base in front of the tall, narrow black door. And once more you watch as he peels the clasps, like the knots, the strings, at the neck of his cloak apart, and he pulls it back. And you see once more the same tribal tattoos on his shoulders with the ankh and the curled, spiraling bone dagger, and the geometric shapes akin to Ouroboros on both shoulders. And he hangs his cloak into one of the great talons of the claw.
These claws are big.
Uh-huh.
Similar to the one from my vision.
Correct. And he begins to undo his shirt as well. And he elevates his shirt over him. And as he does, you can see that along his back, beneath the area where the large tattoo of a defiled black claw resides, you can see that his back looks as though there are portions similar in small circles, concentric circles, of these same black vacuous voids in his flesh, as though he is effectively ripping himself asunder. So you can't see through these. These look like voids where you can definitively see into them, but you can't see anything inside of them.
Right.
But you can see that there are these spots all over his body on his back.
Are you all right?
It's all a transaction, sister.
One you're willing to pay.
Indeed. For his glory.
Whose glory?
The Defiles. And he places his hand on the door. And once more you watch as the door shudders and shakes, and he twists and pulls the door open. DJ, the interior still looks the same. The wood inside here does not look rotting or decayed. Inside is a small, Sarah, 15-ish foot, square foot room. Wood laid, same kind of wood. In the front right corner, you can see that there is a writing desk with various implements that remind you of Aether's belongings. A skull, a brazier, some candles, some small vials with various herbs.
Not as spooky as I was expecting.
Oh, I haven't finished.
Okay.
On the floor in the center of this square room, you can see that drawn in chalk is a large white circle, and in the center of it are various geometric patterns and shapes that conjoin outside, almost like there is a triangular pattern inside that extends out over the circle itself.
Like something out of like Full Metal Alchemist.
Correct, yeah, it's effectively an Ouroboros, but yes, it's akin to like an alchemy circle.
Yeah.
And he stumbles over. You see him glide at first, but he takes a few kind of more
Labored? Like labored?
A few more labored steps, as though he's shaking and shuddered, potentially exhausted, over towards his brazier.
Or excited.
Could be. And he grabs his brazier and the vials on top. And he goes over towards the circle and once more sits down in the circle towards the back and begins to uncork these vials, slowly pulling out fragments of herbs and twigs and other flora, placing them into the brazier. Mr. Nesgrim, could you... And he pulls from his belt another bone dagger and extends it out towards you. And sister, the candles on the desk, please. Bring me one. And hold one for yourself, so you don't lose yourself in the dark.
I guess I'll grab the candles.
Uh-huh.
As she's doing that, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's two little gold candlesticks on the writing desk.
Should I light them? I'll light both of them.
If you want to.
I'll light the candles.
Marvelous. Thank you. Mr. Nesgrim.
Take the dagger and
You step into the circle.
step into the circle. Take the dagger and
Do you
run
need
it.
one of the candles?
I need a candle, darling.
Why do I not get a candle? I
You're
want a
the
candle.
one seeing Mr. Nesgrim.
Okay.
Shakily extend the candlestick to him, and he takes the one, and you leave the other illuminated in your hand.
Run the dagger across my palm.
Across your palm this time,
Mm-hmm.
and you watch as Nesgrim slices through very slightly the palm of his hand, and extend your hand over the brazier, over the herbs.
Give it a good squeeze. And
Gets a good squeeze and rotates his hand, and a small spurt of blood sprays down over the brazier. And you watch as Adrian just lurches forward, almost licking his lips. Oh, I should not be greedy, Master, you're right. Come inside, sister. Walk with me. He would be so proud to see how you've grown.
I guess Nesgrim doesn't give me any indication not to do so.
Step into the circle,
Oh my god.
holding your candle
Again, like,
very tightly.
shaking. She's still standing,
Resolute,
yes. but
resolved.
Ritora, I think it's best that whatever I see, there's someone with me.
Yes, there will be someone with you.
And I'm gonna kind of like, just after I hear Adrian say that, just widen my eyes. Just, I think it's time to begin.
I have not been down here before. I'll follow your lead.
Okay, Adrian.
Welcome home. And you watch as he tips the candle into the brazier, igniting the herbs, florins, and leaves, drenched in your blood. And you watch as everything around you goes cold and dark, the world twisting away like the heat of a horizon off in the distance for you. And Ritora, you see, standing in front of you, a younger Nesgrim, an infant Nesgrim, holding aloft his tiny hands towards his mother, and you see she looks over him, tears streaming down her face, and she falls to her knees in front of him, and he drops his hands towards her cheeks. She rests her hands on yours, your tiny, chubby, little, adorable Nesgrim cheeks, and pinches. And you pinch back, and you see these little drops of sand sprinkle down like an hourglass from your mother's fingers, down from your chin onto the ground at your feet. Your mother continues to weep silently, struggling to hold back the noises. Suddenly coming into focus, you see a hand stretch out, resting on the shoulder of your mother, and in steps Nesgrim's father, placing both hands on the shoulders of his beloved wife. And you watch as he tentatively squeezes for a moment, and she breathes one heavy sob and looks down at young tiny Nesgrim. I'm so sorry, son. I don't understand. We did what they asked. We did what we were told. You're our boy. Our son. Not his. He cannot have you. And in the distance, echoing around you, you hear these guttural voices echoing in the distance, and once more you hear at the crack of a whip. And you watch as your mother winces, not in pain, but in fear. And Ritora, you watch as tiny little Nesgrim, upon seeing his mother wince, shakes violently, lurches forward, very similarly how to Adrian does with his shoulders rocking over, and you watch these horrific, bony, white wings erupt from the back of this wee babe, and he lets out a horrifying cry. And your mother drops her hands in horror. And your father pulls your mother away from you. And the child turns towards you, Ritora, and you see vacuous, empty black eyes akin to the hole in Adrian's palm. You see the child's hands twisted like talons, breaking through the palms, the skin ripped asunder. And the child looks at you and turns its head and turns its head and turns its head.
Jesus Christ.
And halts at a 90-degree angle, and its tongue lolls out of its side of its mouth. And the mother crawls towards this child, and the father desperately attempts to hold her back. And you hear the voices in the distance, those guttural shoutings, suddenly turn to stompings that grow ever so distant away from you.
Grow into what?
Ever so distant away from you.
They grow into what, though?
The stomping?
Stomping, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Stomping loud, and then grows distant. And then you watch as this child's head returns to upright, prostrate once more. And the bones break at the scapula, at the shoulder blades, and crumble and fall to the earth. You watch as the talons inside of the palms recede back inside the hands. You watch as the hands begin to bleed slightly, and then, almost in a cauterizing sense, seal and skin reform. You watch as the mother in horror pulls you close, and you see your mother's face right against yours. Never cry, Nesgrim. Never cry. It'll be all right. I promise. I will cry for you. And you watch as she pulls you tightly to her chest. Ritora, you see tiny Nesgrim coddled in the arms of his mother. She pulls him closely to her chest. And you watch as she nuzzles him to her neck. And you watch as he latches onto her throat. And your vision begins to fade.
Mine fades as well, or no?
Mm-hmm. And you see yourself standing here, violently shaking this candle, flickering in your hands. Nesgrim standing here, pale. Adrian, shuddering, I suppose. And you watch as this small little circle begins to form on his ribs. And you watch as he winces slightly in pain underneath his arm. Mr. Nesgrim. Welcome home, my master. Cry for me. Set me free.
Set you free from what?
This clay is faintly a prison.
My god, clay means body.
Correct.
You want me to kill you?
Yes, Mr. Nesgrim. So you may grow with your friend's help.
God damn it, I was right, I am.
And he extends the bony dagger towards your hands. Shit.
I'm gonna drop to my knees.
Still holding the candle.
Barely.
When you say grow, what exactly do you mean?
To feed what is inside of you, my master. Accept yourself, Mr. Nesgrim.
What is my purpose?
Oh, not all seeds are born in the earth, Mr. Nesgrim. Some of them sit inside us. Grow.
Am I to provide a host for the defiled?
Not a host, Mr. Nesgrim. Have you not understood? In the age of black earth and white bone, my master will find his home.
What?
Fuck, I'm considering it.
Don't do it. I can fix this. That's all I've ever wanted to do is fix this.
This is how you fix it, sister.
This is not fixed.
Is it not? You said yourself you don't know what you truly know. The only way to discover is to wander. And he shakes the dagger in your direction. Some gifts can be passed on, darling. You lack a name. Would you not choose it for yourself.
I think he's offering you the chance to be a Revia.
I am not a Revia.
Not yet.
I have no intention of being a Revia.
And the duty lies with you, Mr. Nesgrim. You seek answers. Let me give you one. And he turns his hand with the dagger towards you.
You got your price.
If I kill you, how will we receive the herbs?
Oh, they're growing.
Where?
And you watch as he just takes his finger and traces along his sternum, down over his stomach, to his navel. Where do you think they get their names from, Mr. Nesgrim? Not all seeds are born in the earth.
Out of character real quick.
Uh-huh.
I get the feeling that
You cannot kill him.
but if I leave here without killing him, he's gonna be super offended. His god just rejected him.
That's his problem.
But it does also solve another problem we had, which is that we wanted to kill him anyway.
That was not what we said. We never said that. We said he might be a problem. We never said we wanted to kill him. If we kill him, Do you want to be the defiled? Is that what you want?
I don't know exactly what this entails. However,
I don't know that if you kill him right now, you're not going to turn around and kill me right now.
if I have control over... God damn it, John. Oh.
I forgot about the stupid timer.
Welcome back.
If I have control over it, I will not kill you.
Yeah, if you have control over it.
It's a big if, DJ.
Back in character real quick. Adrian, if I do this, how much autonomy will I...
Possess?
Yes.
You're a strong man, aren't you, Mr. Nesgrim? As a man who's
particularly
died
no.
once before, you seem quite resilient.
So you're suggesting I would maintain some autonomy, but not all?
I don't know, Mr. Nesgrim.
And if I choose not to kill you?
Choose not to? How charming you truly are
You make...
to think you maintain choice, Mr. Nesgrim.
I could just leave.
Can you?
God damn it, you're not gonna let me leave until I kill you.
And you watch as he just beckons at the circle around you. Welcome home, Master. Welcome me. I have been so devoted, so damaged in your glory, Master.
Do I feel any mental wrigglings. Anything like, no.
Not yet. Tick tock.
Sarah, I don't think I have an option to not do this.
There's another option.
What's the other option?
God.
Tick tock.
I'm gonna just reach my hand. Oh god. Oh, my timer's getting low. I'm just gonna reach my hand and try to reach outside of the circle.
As you reach outside of the circle, you realize you're standing inside of a magic circle. And you cannot leave the circle. Your hand strikes, as I indicated before, with abjuration schools,
Ritora, you may want to look away.
a
I'm gonna
barrier.
I'm gonna grab the dagger,
Oh,
and I'm
God.
going to.
You reach for the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Nazgrim, do you also reach for the dagger? Or do you watch Ritora do this for you?
I'll let Ritora do it.
You'll let Ritora do it. You reach for the bony dagger and take it from his shaking palm. And what do you do?
I'm gonna stab him with it.
Where?
His,
Right here? Kind of like down and inwards?
like,
You take the spirally curved bony dagger from his shaking palm and you elevate it in front of Nesgrim and you stab down into the side of his neck.
Not
Not
Adrian.
Nesgrim, but Adrian.
Yeah.
Yes, no. I don't think you're killing him. Nesgrim's gonna die! And you watch as Adrian just smiles. Well nurtured, darling. And you just stick the dagger deep in, and you watch as his head just lurches back, and he grabs at your hand and pulls and sprays his blood all over the two of you. And you hear this harrowing cry echo from outside of the circle in the room around you. And you watch as his form, still smiling, goes limp as his head begins to separate slightly, pausing right at the center of his neck. And he goes limp, and his arms fall from your hands to the ground at the circle below, staining all of the runes and markings in this magic circle. You watch as the blood traces along the lines of the
it doesn't matter who
triangle
killed him.
that stretches outside of the circle, forming a complete triangle, marking through this magic circle. You feel the ground beneath you begin to slightly rumble as the lining of the wood separates in parts and the magic circle begins to break. And beneath the wood, you see the same desecrated soil that you have been oh so terrified of.
I'm gonna quickly remove his head.
what?
Rip.
Take my sword and just finish the cut and take his head.
I'm gonna cast.
And put it in a bag.
What
Yeah,
kind of
did
bag,
his-
DJ?
In my-
you don't have many bags.
I'm gonna take his fucking shirt and just wrap it in his shirt.
Very good.
Did his blood
Oh,
hit
he
the
took
ground?
his shirt off, whatever clothing he's wearing.
Sorry, what's
Did
that?
his blood hit the ground?
Yes.
I'm gonna cast Druidcraft
Okay.
where his blood hit the ground.
And
Can you create the herbs?
That's
what are you using Druidcraft with? What mechanic of the spell?
to grow.
And you watch as Nesgrim removes his head, and stemming out from the muscle, these tiny, glorious red berries begin to protrude as you cast Druidcraft and it extends back through the blood into his body. And you see stemming out from his navel, I forget the description of the other herbs, but I'm going to say the other 2 herbs stretch out from his navel as though blooming from inside of him.
Let's pick these herbs.
Uh-huh.
I'm also gonna keep the head. Then I do have a bag, correct? Like a bag.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put his head in my actual bag.
You can put the herbs in your bag and hold his actual head.
Doing that, I'm also going to. Can I exit the circle now?
Yes, you can see that because the wood has shattered and the wood has begun to crack and break in between your feet, exposing the black soil of the desecrated earth below. You can see that vines begin to slightly wriggle and wrap themselves around the planks of wood and begin lurching towards his body.
I think the vines will take care of the evidence for us. Or should we prevent the vines from getting his body?
I'm not listening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna reach out and grab Nesgrim's hands and just frantically look at his hands.
At his palms. You grab Nesgrim's palms and turn his hands over. And you see no marking in his palms.
Grab his head and just look
Frantically
into
search.
his eyes.
You see no markings on Nesgrim.
I'm gonna look at Ritora's hands.
And as you turn Ritora's hand over, you see in the hand that held the dagger a small black circle in her palm. Very small. Smaller than a penny.
I'm gonna rip off a piece of my
Sure.
sleeve and
Wrap your hand. Very good.
tie it off.
Uh-huh.
I'm also gonna walk over to his desk where he kept all of his other herbs.
Mm-hmm.
Take them all.
Very good.
Just empty it into my bag.
Yeah, the vials that he had been using are mostly empty, so I'll say that you'll gain 1 casting of this ritual from what he had in his remaining vials.
Oh my god.
Oh, Sarah, how you have nurtured my plans.
Did I walk right into this?
Oh,
Did you-
did. This was the episode title, Sarah.
Earlier, when I said, you're the Blithe nurturer, and I'm the Blithe, I was right.
Yeah.
Yep. If I had a hat, I would tip it and leave. 4D chess, DJ. 4D chess.
We should
Um,
go.
Yes.
We need to get out of here.
You begin to ascend the steps.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the lurching of the wood begin to creak and crack further as vines begin to tendril around his ankles.
I'm gonna grab the candle,
Okay.
light it, and just
Throw it into
Throw
the
it.
area? Sure. You throw the candle onto the area of his body, and you watch as the hem of his pants begins to spark and ignite. And you watch as the vines in that area begin to recoil almost in horror, and then slap at the flame, attempting to extinguish it. I'm really sorry.
Is that a nat 20?
That's not a nat 20, but it's a 19, so...
Good thing I have a second candle.
Yeah, you throw the second candle. I will say that because of the expeditious process of you recognize what they're doing and you throw the second candle at a different spot, I'll say that you begin to ignite the upper part of his body at the waistline of his pants, because again, he removed the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch as Adrian begins to catch fire from the waist. You see the vines begin to crack his feet and still pull him towards the bottom, towards the areas in which the wood is broken. It's obviously not sufficient for a body to get through. You see the wood around Adrian's corpse begin to ignite.
Like the whole... Oh, God. Yo, we gotta go.
And you see sparks of little spits of flame begin to sput out, catching other pieces of wood in the area aflame. I'm so sorry for what you two just did to yourselves.
I don't know what
We're
that
gonna be
means, Sean.
arrested. We're gonna be arrested for arson.
No, it's drastically worse. Think about how you got in here, and think about how you need to get out.
The stairs. We have to go now.
Run. Just
And you begin ascending the stairs, and you approach the door. What do? You
Take
rip
off the-
the bandage. Thank you. See, puzzles, they're so much fun. And you use the black circle in your palm to attach to the doorknob, and you feel this horrific radiating chill attached to your hand, and you watch as the door shudders and shakes, and your hand shakes. And the door creaks open, and you see the line of the curtains in front of you.
Shut that door.
You step in together, and you shut that door behind you. And you go to pull the curtain.
Now, to the DM, is this whole building gonna burn down?
I can't tell you,
Okay.
genuinely. You pull the curtain. Friends, you may return.
We lost Paul.
Yeah. Was that fun?
Oh my god. What did I do?
I really wonder what would have happened if I did it.
Oh, Mr. Nesgrim.
We're lucky you didn't do it.
I'm considering the fact that I may be a vampire.
All right, before you say anything, switch because we want to have a separate discussion.
that's fine.
Before.
See you in a couple minutes, friends.
God, I need a beer. I
Heard
need
a lot
a
of
beer.
laughs.
We'll see them. Maybe we won't.
Not good laughs!
Well, yeah, they relaxed from you, so it's...
No, they were having a great time. They're
They're
so
the
happy.
best kind of laughs.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely... Yep.
It's fine. Fine. Totally fine.
They're fine. I'm so sorry for what they did.
Hello, Paul.
You're what?
I'm
Hello.
so sorry for what they did.
Oh, no.
It's gonna be a great episode, friends.
Oh, no.
Yep. So what are we doing up here?
You're sorry for what they did?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Walked right into it.
Well then.
So yeah,
That's not good at
So,
all.
alright.
four of you are up here.
Okay, so they disappeared. He started setting a mental clock.
Correct.
That's where we were.
Correct. In terms of passage of time, Paul, I would say that, you know, if you want to give me the I can give you the totality in terms of the entire length for when they're returning, and then we can decide what we're doing in that space, just because I think that's probably easier.
Yeah,
Sure.
They were gone.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
If you have a preference, because you're the one setting, like, that idea for the pacing.
Yeah, so my idea was I was going to count probably like for the first 30 seconds
Okay.
and assume that they've gone somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say into Yalumla's mind,
Mm-hmm.
please preoccupy that thing.
The eye?
Yes.
Sure.
You
I'll
go
go
over
over
towards the
and-
jar.
Yeah, I'll give it the same.
Yeah, the
I'll give it the
intense
business
stare.
again, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you watch as the eye transfixes on you and begins to, like, stir and shake, almost as though going, like, back and forth and
Sure.
refocusing and, like, losing its focus and refocusing on you, almost as though, you know, obviously intentionally confused,
Sure.
doesn't
I'm
understand.
gonna look at it like I'm confused.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is this
What the
eye? It's
fuck
fucking
is you?
moving. This is the weirdest fucking
You're gonna
thing.
fucking look at me like that?
Okay, so Paul?
So I observed that happening, correct?
Correct.
The eye and Yalumlo doing the little song and dance.
Correct.
I will walk over towards. I know you said he had shelves with curtains in front of it, right?
Correct, yeah, on both sides. The one side was plant side, the other side was, like, decaying bodies that he keeps contained in jars.
I will go to the side that is near the curtain.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So which is that?
So because it's on counter, it's effectively in the center behind his desk. So like, it's kind of equidistant. I wouldn't say it necessarily favors one side or the other so much.
Even better. So
Okay.
I'll go to the left.
Okay.
And I'll kind of start to peer behind the curtains a little bit.
Okay.
And as I do so, I'll look over at Yalumlo in the eye.
Okay.
Are they still doing the same?
Yes, they're still doing the song and dance. You pull the curtain and you slightly see the jars of what looks like small flora and leaves contained in jars.
Okay. Do I recognize any of them?
Yes.
As those that we have talked about?
Not the ones that you are specifically searching for, but there are definitely ones in here that you recognize that are used for spells, for ingredients, if you do not have like a casting focus.
Okay. All right. And as I look back and see Yalumlo in the eye, the curtain is behind the eye, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I would like to use my special hand
Okay.
and start to peel back the curtain slowly.
Sure. You peel back the curtain, exposing the tall, narrow black door behind his counter.
Okay.
Looks
And
closed.
I would like to then close it as closely as I can to the way it was before.
Okay. You close the curtain.
Are you quite done?
Yes. I didn't hear the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, I'm sure it will be
I
fine.
am saying this into your mind. I'm not speaking.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I can respond into your mind if I pick up that you're trying not to say things out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sure it will be fine. Do you need me to continue with the eye?
No, that's all I needed. Thank you. And I'll step away from the shelf towards the center of the room, turn to Ether. And I am continuing the count in my mind.
Mhm.
So
I'll say it's been about 4 minutes by this point.
4 minutes?
Correct.
Okay. So I would guess that they are in the middle of a process.
Mm-hmm.
Is Discord lagging for you guys? I apologize.
No,
you're
it's
fine.
not. You're good.
You're golden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's being a little laggy on my end for some reason.
I'll step back from the eye when it seems like he's not doing anything that's
Absolutely.
noteworthy for
Yeah,
it.
as you step back and kind of begin to look around again and communicate with your friends a little bit, the eye just kind of like sporadically, hastily turns, concentrates on curtains, and then returns back to staring ahead at the door.
Okay.
Yalumlo, Adrian said some fairly concerning things to you regarding your vision with him.
Concerning?
Something about multiple souls
Oh.
of some kind, and the fact that he saw you in the snow in the presence when he was wandering through someone else's death.
Well, I
Multiple
suppose
concerning things.
I don't know about lying in the snow. I imagine he saw the death of perhaps one of those that fell in the accident.
That is possible, yes, I suppose.
That seems the most likely. This is the only time I remember lying in the snow recently.
So that means there, I suppose, is either another of you that is
Not dead?
not dead, or that
Or that
the
he-
body was recovered by Adrian or someone and sold to Adrian, perhaps?
That would make some amount of sense. He does seem the type to investigate bodies. As far as the soul comment, I imagine he was referring to my Ikoram.
You sorry?
We're finally hitting it. You want to excuse me?
It is a spirit guardian of
Could you
sorts.
spell that?
Spell that?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
My Ikoram. Would you like to
you
make?
have an
Would you like to make a roll?
Ikoram?
Ikoram? It doesn't matter how it's spelled.
Yeah, let me.
IKHORAM.
I'm already wrong. IKHORAM.
Correct.
What is that?
It is like a guardian spirit of sorts. You read books, you have not heard of these?
I don't know, John.
Go right ahead.
Oh, geez, it fell in the center. All right, I need a solid surface. All right. So it's going to be a 15 plus 5, 20.
So dirty 20? Okay. So
Yep.
this is a word that is not in a language that you have ever encountered in your studies. So language makes no sense to you. The word meaning itself does not remotely sound familiar, as though this comes from as you would probably be able to deduce, a very reclusive section of the world.
Okay.
In which either people don't really traverse into, or the inhabitants of it don't typically leave it.
I am not familiar with it.
Nor am I.
Suppose it is more common where I am from.
I suppose so. It is not something that I am familiar with. Is that a normal thing where you come from, or is it something that is simply known?
It is part of life where I am from. I do not know if I would say normal. There are a limited number of Ikoram.
Do they protect multiple people?
Yes, there is more than one.
Okay.
I suppose you could see it as something of a caste system for my people.
Sure, so depending on which of these Ikorams protect you determines your caste?
Depending on the presence or not
Ah, I see.
of such a spirit.
And that would put you in which of the caste systems then? The upper, or is it the other way around?
I suppose you might compare it to an upper caste.
I wasn't sure if it was something that might have been frowned upon.
Most certainly not.
All right. It is very curious.
Does it speak to you?
Not in the traditional sense.
In your mind?
I suppose you could look at it that way.
Okay. At this point, I have pulled out my book and I am now writing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not setting anything inaccurate, yeah? We're
remotely,
on the
sir.
same page, you and I?
Correct.
I would attribute this to like kind of like a spirit totem,
Yes.
sort of.
Absolutely, for your people. Yes.
Mhm.
It's been about 8 minutes, 9 minutes.
If I'm listening in
Uh-huh.
between them talking, can I decipher where, like, if I can hear footsteps above or mumbling from below?
You may roll for perception.
Um,
6.
Eerily silent.
for the
Yes.
sake of, we sat out there for like 30 minutes or something like that.
Hmm?
Would you like to refresh these gentlemen on the other things that were said that they might have questions on? To me.
In what context? I'm sorry.
His answers to my questions.
Oh,
So-
Adrian specifically to you?
Right.
Adrian specifically said that it was extremely strange and mysterious to him that he even saw you in the dream because it's exclusively connected to a family member. It's not like he just sees a random person near you that died. He sees someone specifically connected to your family that has died and that has had a great emotional impact on you, or something that leads to the death of someone in the family. So effectively, like, the soul cries out
Sure.
with some kind
Okay.
of suffering, and that's why he said before, like,
Yeah, it's
he
nice
likes-
when the soul suffers.
it's nice when the soul suffers. It effectively enriches the story as far as
Sure.
he is concerned. I'm trying to think of what other elements of the answers that he gave specifically for Yalumlo.
He referenced why I was in the city.
Oh, yes, correct. Thank you. In terms of it being worth it, he hopes that you are here in the city and that what you did got you sufficient gratitude and appreciation for what happened, I guess.
Okay.
Did I say who it was for? I believe I did.
You said family.
Family. I wasn't sure if I indicated who specifically or if it was vague enough in terms of how he would veil it.
No, I do think you did connect it to the Ikoram,
Okay.
I
So
believe.
I thought so. So yeah, those would be the things that Adrian would have said that, you know, in my eyes would be the most informative or indicative about theoretically why Yalumlo might be in the city of Oshuamp, especially connecting what I just told Paul for his history check uniquely.
Okay. What did Adrian mean when he mentioned that coming to the city was worth it for you? Some sort of bargain, or...
Sacrifice?
Yes.
My brother was to be exiled
From the city, or from your
from
home?
my home,
From your home.
and I came in his place.
That is honorable of you. You must care for your brother a great deal.
You could say we are one in some sort of way.
In what way would that be? Is that what he was talking about with the multiple souls?
I would imagine that that is what he was referencing. My brother and I share an Ikoram.
I see.
It's not something that is particularly usual
Between family members?
amongst my people at
yeah.
all.
Okay. And what of the vision that he had in the snow? He mentioned something about your family, and being surprised to see you there.
I know not what he saw. I know what I saw. My home. The Rava wood. And snow encasing my feet. And wisps, tendrils of frigid air binding my hands.
As if you were being trapped or dragged.
Not dragged,
You were standing.
held in place.
Like a scarecrow?
No. This is strange interpretation.
Well, you said you were standing and there was snow and your arms were being held.
Binding my hands.
Like
I
this,
see.
binding,
Okay. I thought you meant
No,
like...
not like
Okay.
like
Okay.
this out.
Okay. Oh, so being led somewhere then, perhaps?
No. Standing
Standing.
in place.
Correct.
And then there was an icicle that descended from my hands, and the lines of air. There were eyes, one much like, and I'll point to the eye on the counter. And then the ice began to crack, and I was back in the lovely basement of this establishment.
That is interesting. These lines of air, what did they look like? Anything in particular, or just...
Hair, perhaps?
Correct.
White strands of hair? I do not know what they were.
flowing, perhaps?
Yeah, correct.
Revolving
Swirl.
about me?
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
I do not know what it means. I paid Adrian for further answers, and it seems I have only received more riddles.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
With the silver?
The silver, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Whose blood was on it?
My own.
Oh.
He is a man that requires unusual payment for his services.
Mm-hmm.
I did not wish to dodge around the issue. I figured I would get straight to the core of it.
interesting.
He seems to have a taste for it,
It would seem that way, yes.
much like what you described in the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed fond of it then as well, yes.
No, not him. I mean, the other cellar.
How do you mean?
The tendrils.
The tendrils?
In Corin's cellar? The basement?
Ah, yes.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
So they lapped after it.
After blood, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They hungered for it.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Does as well.
treated the blood like it was a delicacy, a treat.
I suppose that makes sense. I mean, it does seem that the people of this city are using the widow's wail to consume some portion of those less fortunate. Adrian does seem to be in a similar business. I imagine as a former member of the Aeteros, he would have acquired such a taste.
It's concerning.
Yes, it is. It's
Indeed.
been about 15 minutes.
Everyone else okay?
Do we recall how long we were down there and Nesgrim, Ether, and Ritora were down there previously?
The first vision was only about 2 to 3 minutes. The next one was only about 6. This is
Okay.
a very long.
And we would have heard the door, seen the door the last two times.
Correct.
Yeah, and we didn't.
I'm gonna go back over to the eye.
Okay.
Does it refocus on me as I
Yeah,
approach
as
it?
you approach it, you watch as it just like sentry-esque looks up at you, tilts up, and catches your gaze.
With my back to the rest of them, I'm gonna shuffle something out of a pouch at my side.
Do you hold it up to it, like contacting the glass?
In front of me.
In front of you.
And I'm gonna hold it up to the glass, yeah.
And you watch as the iris, like the pupil, really fucking narrows in on it, and it lurches towards the front of the glass until the membrane of the eyeball is pressed against it.
And then I'll palm it
Mm-hmm.
and shuffle it up into my glove.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent enough time around these two to become familiar with their scent, right? Like,
Absolutely.
essentially. Do they smell like they're close by?
Not remotely.
Oh God.
It smells as though their scent halted at the curtain.
Oh no. No.
This is they're being particularly long.
Would I have any sense of Ritora for any reason at all?
That's true.
I have to look at the description to see whether
Sure.
or not it carries over across.
Do you think they're all right?
I hate to break it to you, but I've been trying to keep tabs since they've left, and I've got nothing.
What do you mean by tabs?
I can't hear them and I can't smell them anymore. It's almost as if they are just stopped existing.
I don't see anything in the
Yeah,
description
I'm going to
that says it
extend
wouldn't.
my nose and try to sniff.
It's going to be something where I'll have to make a judgment call on it. I'll permit it to be something where you may make a concentration check to effectively see whether or not you're able to maintain it, because it's effectively it's a pocket dimension now for where they've gone.
Oh God.
Concentration check's just a straight number.
It's a con save still.
It's
sorry.
a con save, so
Correct.
it's a 14.
14. I'll say that yes, you're still faintly connected. You're able of discerning that she feels incredibly far away from you. Your connection is very tentative and limited. I can tell you that as right now, though, with how long it has been, your connection suddenly feels as though it is back.
Sure.
Is there anything else you guys would like to do before the curtain opens and we get to have the luxurious moment of them coming back inside?
I don't think so.
No?
Everybody good?
I'm gonna shuffle up a little closer to Ether, like just behind him, but still obscuring my face with my hood.
Okay.
I have to call off this button.
I don't know if it actually worked. It didn't work. When you
Oh,
did it
okay.
for us. I'm gonna just make sure that they know.
It's weird because like the little check mark comes up, so I'm sure the stream deck thing is working.
Yeah, I'll have to double check and see.
But yeah, you can come back, Sarah. Where's our good friend, Mr. Neskrim?
The lights didn't change in there, right?
We knew that you were.
Okay. I'll have to look at that.
We heard John say, was there anything else you wanted to do
Gotcha.
before?
Got it.
So
Why does DJ just look like he's been in the principal's office?
oh, you can describe how the two of you ascend and remove the curtain,
So,
or
Let's
would
see,
you
how
rather
would
me
you-
do it? I feel like this is a very wonderful moment for the two of you.
Oh my God, and it's 9:30. Fuck.
who's leading up? You or me?
You would be. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
All right, then I come bursting through the curtain, pulling Nesgrim
Uh-huh.
behind me, slamming the door.
Do you look okay?
No.
By pulling him, how do you mean pulling him?
Like,
Like,
ugh.
like imagine. How can I best describe?
are there
this?
windows in his shop?
Just at the front.
What is the eye doing as they come in?
The eye stays transfixed towards the front door.
Are you okay?
No.
We need to go.
I think we should stay here.
Do you want me to describe how you guys
Yeah.
look? They're covered in fucking blood.
Oh my God!
Both of them, as though sprayed out over their chests, their like waists and legs, up over their fucking face.
I'm also carrying a bundle.
What
I
happened?
think we should
he
stay
has
here.
well, you guys would recognize it. Adrian's shirt drenched in blood, about bowling
Bowling ball size.
ball size, right at his side.
what kind of blood does it smell like?
Well,
Smells like Adrian's blood.
We need to cover the windows at the front, Ritora. I think we should stay here to just tell them what happened. We know we're safe here for now.
He keeps the
Safe.
windows covered.
What happened?
Correct. He keeps the windows
windows
covered.
are not open.
Correct.
We just
Good.
need to lock the door.
Yes.
Correct.
Lock the door
Sure.
quickly.
Does it?
What
I
happened?
turn and lock it.
Yeah. You got it.
You smell smoke probably too when we come up.
Yeah.
Does it smell like smoke up here?
No.
Good.
Also, Vorse would be the only one who would smell the smoke, and when the door closes, gone.
If they were
Ether,
standing in it, I would smell it on them very
Correct.
faintly,
You
though,
smell
right?
it on
Yeah.
like their clothing as though it's residual lingering on them, but yep.
Ether, I've brought you a present.
I'm gonna just collapse to the floor. Just
Did you kill him?
I'm
seem
gonna
that
open
way.
this sack.
Yeah, and you see the severed, cut this way, and curved fishhook up head of Adrian, wide smiling, his eyes roll back into his skull in ecstasy.
Nesgrim, what the fuck did you do?
Well,
What did you do?
it was me.
What did you do?
Oh, I'm so fucking happy!
It was me.
What happened?
I'm just like in a heap on the ground, just clutching.
Grab a fucking
hand.
curtain, clean the blood off yourselves while you talk Christ.
well, you see, we entered the circle with Adrian.
We got the herbs.
Yes, we also got the herbs. And
Well, that's
Great.
wonderful news.
Great
Very
news.
good of you.
That's why we came here.
Really glad we won't have to go into the forest now. Although perhaps it would be the best place for us to be.
don't worry, evidence is taken care of.
Except for the head that you brought back and the
that'll be-
blood on your armor.
We'll clean that.
Of course. We'll just walk right out into the street and clean it right off.
I'm sure there's rags I can wipe off with.
Rags.
So, we entered the circle. Adrian's ritual went as usual. We had our vision, which we will come back to. That's less important right now.
I don't know if that's less important.
Yes, perhaps
I think
in
that's
the
me.
order that the events occurred.
Yes, I think
would
that may
be
answer
best.
some questions about
Okay.
why I have his head in my fucking hands right now.
Fair.
Ethan, let them explain. Maybe it makes sense.
So, yes, we can go in the order that things happened. So my vision, or our vision, I suppose.
Briefly, if I could interrupt, are we going to need to get rid of this
Oh, what, the head?
somehow?
I figured you would
It's-
want it.
Okay.
Perhaps
For you,
could
Ethan.
Yes, of
watch
course.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start peeling it while you're talking.
Peeling it.
We have to, speed up the process.
So, I was a baby.
Only you would explain it this way.
This is a
I
great
was a
place to
baby.
start.
In your
Maybe a
vision,
little further into the future.
In the vision, yes, I was a baby. My mother pinched my cheeks, and sand fell from her fingers. She then began to weep.
She was crying.
Heavily crying.
the seraph, perhaps.
Oh, just wait, Don.
I didn't consider that.
I don't think that's. Keep going.
So as she's crying, my father's hand rested on her shoulder. And my mother said, "I'm so sorry, son. I don't understand. I did what they asked. I did what they told. You're our boy, not his. He can't have you." And then we heard guttural voices and the crack of a whip, and my mom winced in fear. Then she said, "Never cry, Nesgrim. It'll be all right. I will cry for you."
There's a big part you're skipping. The visualizations of you.
Oh, yes.
Did you say the cry of the seraph?
Lest you court the seraph's cry.
I don't think. We'll come back to that. Yeah, as a baby, my eyes turned to pools of black. I sprouted 2 white skeletal wings from my back and turned my head 90 degrees. Looked at
Like that?
Like an owl.
Yeah. No. Like
yeah,
a
horizontally, like
Very like an owl.
Like not like an owl, but like a clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Owls
owls do
also
that
do
too,
this thing.
yeah.
Yes.
So, that happened, and then there were stomping sounds around us that slowly faded and became less loud. My baby that had me as a baby looked
Me, baby.
looked to Ritora and turned my head before letting out a gross.
Ritora was there or just in the vision?
Ritora was like an outside observer.
Okay.
And yes, and then I let out a gross guttural cry that I can't mimic. John, would you mind?
Like that.
Great.
Like that.
Nazgrim do that?
He
Yeah.
tries.
Does his best.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah. And then the vision ended.
Mama.
Nope.
Mama.
Did you forget?
Oh, yes.
The whole reason this whole thing happened.
Yes, the most dramatic part.
And then my mother lifted my baby body and held it up, and I latched onto her throat.
With your hands? Okay, great.
What? With the
With your teeth?
the wings?
Mm-hmm.
With my mouth.
You're also forgetting bursting
Oh,
through
yes.
your palms.
Yes, I also had. There's a lot, man.
I know.
Black holes appeared in my hand, and claws grew from them.
Defiled black ones, perhaps?
They were black.
Oh,
yes.
great.
I'm gonna walk over to Bloody Nazgrim and lift one one side of his upper lip and check his fangs. I mean his teeth.
regular Nazgrim teeth.
Interesting.
It's gonna get worse. So following my vision, our vision, I suppose, we were back in the circle with Adrian. And he turned and said, "Welcome home, my master."
Uh-huh.
And then held forth a dagger and asked me to kill him so that I may grow. And said not all seeds are planted in the ground. And while struggling to decide, Ritora took the dagger and stabbed him instead.
What? Why? Why
We
did you do that?
were not convinced that if I had done it, I would have maintained myself. I asked Adrian if I killed him, how much autonomy I would retain, and he seemed to find that funny. So
Oh, so none, okay.
I presume none.
Great.
And after my last vision, where my mother said he will not be thrall to the defiled, I can
Right.
only imagine if I had done it, I would now be thrall to the defiled.
Probably. Ritora would be dead.
And Ritora protected me by killing him instead of me.
The alternative is you just, neither of you, stab him.
Oh, right. I also,
Is there more?
before Ritora stabbed him, I attempted to remove my hand from the circle and could not. We were held there.
He wouldn't let us leave.
We had to kill him or we would have been prisoners. Presumably.
The visuals on his body is something I would also make sure that you
Mhm.
include
Oh, were
for
those-
descriptions to
Were
them.
those not included last time?
No, they did not see
Mm-mm.
it.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
This is news to me.
correct.
He was also covered in holes.
Okay.
Like see through?
Black voids on his body.
Holes to nowhere?
Yes, it was just black. You could see inside of it, but there was nothing within.
After the vision, not before.
He
Both.
previously just had a giant tattoo on his back.
He had many tattoos. He did not have these holes as you guys were in the basement with him before.
And following the vision, we watched another one form on his body. So it...
I imagine these things that he mentioned he was trading in exchange for whatever he is doing there, clearly.
I think so, yes.
Taking pieces of himself.
I think so.
Why so many in such a short time? Why not before?
Perhaps he was forced by somebody, or...
What has changed?
Ether, you also entered the basement once before. He opened the door differently. I don't know if you all caught this, but...
We didn't not hear a door.
He
if
had
that is relevant.
black hole in his hand. And he opened the door with it. And you remember what the basement looked like before. It looked similar to like this over here.
Yes.
The wood was rotting and wet with bugs crawling throughout. And you remember the coat rack at the bottom of the stairs.
I do.
The pegs were replaced by black claws.
Great.
So I think he was hiding them from all of us at first.
I would say so.
Speaking of holes.
So he's no longer alive.
I gathered...
You have a peeled skull.
I gathered as much.
And the herbs grew from his body.
Oh.
Okay.
Excuse me?
What?
We got them.
The bloodberry grew from his throat. And the other herbs grew from his navel.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to do that specifically.
I was also able to grab the herbs off of his desk.
That is helpful.
I haven't enough to recreate his ritual once.
Okay, well, we will have to be very specific with what we choose to do, and I suppose, hopefully, I don't turn into a fucking garden.
Probably not the first time.
Ritora, would you like to share your side of what took place?
There's smoke, too?
Before you start, I just start laughing uncontrollably. He is cursed.
I told you.
Hey, Paul, what's that in the jar?
What?
What?
Before Ritora, you tell your side. Maybe we should start to collect all of his things and make it look as though he left in the night.
That is probably
Yeah, that's not a
good
bad
plan.
idea.
Or at the very least, hide it in the creepy basement. Maybe I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think we should go back in that basement.
Why?
When I might have done something.
Something else?
More than killing him and cutting his head off?
Cutting his head off was me. I wanted to bring that for you.
Thank
I
you.
just love the idea of Nesgrimizing it. I got that.
I cut the head.
I killed
Wouldn't that count as completing the ritual or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
So what is
Ritora, I
it
think
that
it's
you
best
did?
if you just show them.
And she exposes her palm, and you see in the center a small black void-like circle. About the size of a penny, maybe a little bit smaller.
How exactly did that come about?
Before she can answer that question, I'm gonna snatch that jar with the eye off the table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smash the jar. And I'm gonna destroy this eye like I destroyed the other one.
Yeah. Stab.
Mm-hmm.
You stab into the eye.
Smack, 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 stomp,
You
smack.
pulverize it against the wall, and you watch as it squishes and disintegrates and sludges out over the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it make any noise?
Does
That
not.
happen? No? Okay.
And you do not hear anything in the area.
Adrian called me his master and made it seem as though I asked him if I would be a host for the defiled, and he said not a host.
So you just are the defiled, then?
I think if I had killed him, I would have become the defiled. I think.
That is a very strong interpretation.
There was a circle on the ground. When his blood spilled, it opened up.
And you put your fucking hand in it?
No.
Yes, where did this come from?
Presumably, when I killed him.
In exchange?
That is what I think, yes.
Do you want to tell them what you were offered?
I was offered a title.
And this title is?
He never told me. But it was
Oh, this is 4D bullshit.
implied that it was a Rivia.
I'm going to rush over to Ritora's hand
Mm-hmm.
and open her palm, not forcefully, and I
Yeah.
will try to, I guess, stare into this penny-sized hole.
Yeah. As you look at it, it looks as though it would be the beginnings of a void.
Beginnings of a void. So,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of schools of magic, would I be familiar with it? Would it just be completely foreign?
I mean, in terms of a school of magic, I would say because it is changing something, I would say probably most closely associated with transmutation.
Okay.
Because it is a change that's occurring.
You may want to get a glove.
I have already.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap it back up.
Uh,
There's also vines down there.
in the... Are you able to open the door as he did with your hand?
That's the only reason that we were able to get out.
Perhaps we should just open that and throw all of his things down the stairs?
No one will find them there.
Because if they are somewhere else, it will appear as though he has left.
If we plan to hide things by opening the door again, perhaps the fewer times the better.
I agree, we should
You
move
have a
everything.
vision
Yes,
to
we
take care
should
of.
do this first, and then we can dispose of the remains. As I just point to the sloppy of skin and blood on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We
Starting to
may
think-
have.
There's more.
There were some candles down there.
And some widow's wail.
Is that why the smoke, then? So you burned an unknown location through a portal.
I didn't know it was a
So
portal.
there is a fire somewhere containing the headless body of a man.
Well, I mean, it is a
Vines.
fire. It probably does not contain
The body is gone.
the
vines
body
took
any
it.
longer.
Okay.
The good news is the fire will eventually go out on its own.
If the vines have taken the body, perhaps the sooner the better, with your vision, Ether.
Yes, I think so. The question is it my vision or is it Adrian's that you wish me to perform?
I would remind you that Adrian's is specifically correlated to a family member.
Okay.
And living people.
I don't know. I'm just saying that because I
Yeah,
don't know what
right.
you guys want to discover.
I think it's best if you do your
Yours.
vision.
I would also rather save the single time that we are able to use whatever he is doing to answer some question about all of you that you may have. I
agree.
may only have one attempt at it. I have not done it before, and it could kill me.
As
I
long
also
as you don't acquire these holes, perhaps more than once would be tolerable.
I also thought you would appreciate the opportunity to refuse Adrian passage across.
I am not certain what I will do in that scenario. He does bear my name. His methods are unorthodox and at the moment seems extremely questionable. especially given that I hold his head in my hands after he made you kill him. But everyone deserves a chance to explain themselves. I always ask people before I make my decision, and he will get the same regardless of whether he deserves it or not. It is only fair. I get the full picture before I make my choice.
That is fair. Yes.
I'm also not certain which he would prefer. He might prefer to wander endlessly with other souls.
True. That seems to be his life's work.
It's possible he could do some sort of damage being experienced with that place. I
True.
have much to consider and very little time in which to consider it. I just start pulling out my things.
I'm gonna grab Felix, who I suspect will have more knowledge about some of the things in this room, and we can start going behind these curtains and seeing if there's anything worth taking.
Yep, and I start peeling all the curtains back
Yeah.
with my mystic hand, just
Yeah.
revealing everything.
Which one would you like to do, Don?
I will do mine with my herbs.
Okay, so you want to do the vision, or do you want to do the interaction in terms of guiding across the river or not?
I want to do the vision first and then...
The guiding across
Yes.
the river?
Yeah.
Come to him, Don.
See, now I'm convinced that we're playing into your trap.
Of course we
every
are. What do you
time.
mean?
You definitely activated
We
a trap card.
absolutely did.
So I have a quick question. Are
Yes.
we ending soon?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be within the next 5 minutes. It's realistically, it's going to be the beginning of this vision.
Okay.
So, as you begin to perform your vision, your ritual, and you again lower your herbs into the skull around Adrian, and you ignite your brazier, and you inhale the smoke, you find yourself standing, again, Adrian, looking upwards around him in this black vacuous space. He looks younger, like a teenager. You can see that in his hands are dozens of stacked books. You can see that he looks up almost adoringly at this figure that you cannot see. And he holds his books in one hand, and he extends his hand out, up towards this figure that clearly indicates that is taller than him.
Yeah.
And you watch as something grips along his wrist, and you watch this blood trail down young Adrian's arm from the area in his wrist
From where it's being gripped.
where it's being punctured almost.
Oh boy.
Very similar to what happened for Nesgrim's father in Nesgrim's vision,
Yeah.
as though it's encompassing
A
his
claw.
hand down his arm, and you watch as he just giggles. Anything you ask of me, my master, I will guide all of them to your river.
Oh god.
And we will conclude there.
Oh god. Oh no.
Oh no!
What have
There's
you
a
been
bad
doing?
guy.
Oh, I
How
thought
many
it
bad
was
guys do
just
we have in our
us.
party?
Turns out we're all the
I
bad
count
guys.
3.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just joined your group, and now I'm getting lumped in with murder.
I wasn't counting you, but now I am. Let's go.
Just go and dip out.
I gotta go back to the guild.
What the fuck?
Did y'all have a good time?
John!
Hold on, let me sign us off first.
Great.
Friends, thank you guys very much for watching tonight. It's great to be back. It is really good to be back. But
Poor DJ.
Jesus Christ.
Come back strong.
Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow for something very different with Princess of the Apocalypse at 5 o'clock Eastern Time.
If DJ's mind can handle
If
it.
DJ's mind can handle it. And then that'll probably be it for the week for this channel, but DJ and I will be streaming on our respective channels over the course of the week for various things. And then next week we'll be back on Tuesday with Oshuamp at 6:30 again, with Princes on Wednesday. And then next Sunday, we will be, not this upcoming Sunday, the next one, we'll be starting DJ's campaign, which is very exciting. So we'll be getting back to it. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thanks for your support and the follows and bits and everything. Love you guys. And we will see you tomorrow.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Goodbye.